Good evening and welcome to the 2019 USA Cycling Junior and Elite Track National Championships. We've got a large program for you this evening of Elite Team Pursuit, Elite Team Sprint, Madison, 11 through 12 scratch races, 13 to 14 scratch races, and Elite scratch races. I'm here with Gabe Lloyd of T-Town, right here in the heart of Southern California. We've got a national announcing crew for you. Gabe, take it away.
I'm thrilled to be here, Al. We're really looking forward to being here for Nationals in Los Angeles with everybody from around the country. Today's race program definitely going to be really exciting. As you said, with those team pursuits kicking off, we're going to see a few fresh teams out there tonight for the women's pursuit in particular. That's going to be really interesting to see who the new national champions will be here tonight. And then we'll see some of our national team members in the men's program come through and see if they can get themselves a little bit closer to an American record, in fact, tonight with some new pairings by our American athletes on track. Looks like our junior Maddo groups have just gotten their final race briefings, which means we're about to get our race programming underway here, which is really exciting here in LA, Al.
That's right. Definitely looking forward to a Madison. If you haven't seen that before, it's basically a team points race. So 2 riders on the track for each team, 1 in the race, 1 riding relief. Sprints every 10 laps, lots of action, and these are the juniors. Our up-and-comers are 15 to 18. Look for them maybe 2020, maybe shortly after that.
There are a lot of Devo programs, including the U.S. Olympic Development Program, very well represented here today with a lot of our junior athletes, part of the ODP's development towards a little bit of 2020, but a lot more towards 24 and even 28 at this point. Very excited to see how some of those athletes will go. We will see some of them in our Elite Team Pursuit coming up. So it sounds like, Al, we have our national anthem is coming up.
That's right. So we're getting ready to play our national anthem.
We now have our official first result of the evening session here at Nationals. Congratulations to Razzle Dazzle on getting yourself a bronze medal here this year at the 2019 U.S. Track Nationals.
That's right. Still a mile to go, and they caught, Razzle Dazzle caught Ironfly. Our next heat will be the heat for gold, and our new national champions. As Gabe pointed out, neither of these teams was represented last year.
This gold medal round here between the two is going to have Team What's Its Name with Jess Chong, Haley Bates, Danny Morsehead, and Kate Wilson. So very strong riders coming together for one time only here in Los Angeles. A little mixture of some California flavor and a little bit of T-Town attitude out there with Jess Chong. On the back straight, we're going to have Acute Pursuit with Sarah Munoz, Carlene Ron, Elise Traylor, and Charlene Yarnall.
Fun fact, Kate Wilson, part of Team What's Its Name, is Jan Palchikoff's daughter. So not able to beat each other in the same heat, but maybe they can compare times later when they get home.
We'd like to call our men's team pursuit to the ready area, please. Men's team pursuit athletes to your ready area.
Team Big Rig, you are needed on the back straight. Brewer, Butt Savage, Casson, Manderfeld, you are the next event. You need to be in the ready area.
Our gold medal round, Alfred, now on track on the home straight. We had our fastest qualifiers, Team What's His Name, and leading it out there, it's going to be Bates, I believe, getting onto the first wheel. And across now, coming through the home straight, will be Acute Pursuit.
That's right. Acute Pursuit's got twins, Carlene Ron and Charlene Yarnall. You can tell them different. You can tell them apart because one's got green laces, the other's got pink.
So Kate Wilson raced with us in T-Town last year a little bit, so I got to know her from time to time. I know Danny Morsehead from a little bit of Red Hook Crit racing that she's done with us, and Mission Crit as well up in San Francisco. So Morsehead, she was racing in Show Air's program a few years ago, and now she's racing for Team Prattville here in our fixed gear series, and of course on the track bike. This is Morsehead here on the front. A lot of horsepower out there right now on the front for Team What's His Name. And now here we come through the home straight with our red jerseys of the Acute Pursuit, but you can see the time here being set by Team What's His Name, very nice and fast as we see them rolling through nice and even pacing. Wilson now back on the front over there, looking very strong. They want this gold medal, and if you're here in Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, and you know who these athletes are, don't be afraid to put your hands together and make a little bit of noise, because they're going for a gold medal here today. And there they come. They are in the same home stretch. So we're looking at Jess Chong on the front right now. She is a gym teacher in Allentown, and she's now racing on the track. She's looking for her first U.S. Elite National title on the track. As she swings up track, comes back down, showing that experience from racing full time. And here we come now with our, what hopes to be our silver, they will be our silver medalists, but they're trying to hold on for the entire distance of the event.
Okay, we have a white 4Runner, license plate 8E0Z350. You need to move it or it will be moved for you. Once again, white 4Runner, license plate 8E0Z350. Please move your car immediately. Thank you.
Acute Pursuit coming a little bit undone here. They've already burned off one of their athletes. Meanwhile, Team What's His Name all still together. Kate Wilson, though, putting in a huge turn, actually starting to gap off the rest of her crew there. So Wilson needs to ride steady as she is dropping second wheel there. And there she goes. She's going to check over the shoulder, maybe ease off the gas. There's Wilson from Los Angeles, very motivated right now to get that gold medal. So his second wheel here, still Jess Chong trying to close that gap down. So Wilson very motivated to try to keep the race distance below 4K here as she wants to get and catch that. Remember, as we saw in the bronze medal ride, once the catch has been made in the pursuit, then your race has been decided. So now Mooreshead going to take over. Chong goes up and down track trying to latch on. She does not have to, though. We're only looking for the top 3 athletes, and it looks like your what's-his-name now back together.
We've got 4 laps to go now for Team What's Its Name. Out faster than they were this morning with a 3:45, just slightly. They were the faster qualifier by several seconds, so they could be riding themselves into a national championship set of jerseys.
I think they're definitely going to get themselves that national championships jersey. If they're looking for a better time, they had a little bit of moments in the middle of their event where they came unglued, and because of that, maybe they lost a little bit of time. But now they're all back together. Mooreshead on the front right now. Mooreshead going to get very close to making that catch. Remember, there's your flag, and when you hear that gun, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. A national championship has now been awarded. Congratulations to Team What's Its Name, Jess Chong, Haley Bates, Danny Mooreshead, and Kate Wilson.
If you enjoyed your pursuit racing, we've got a treat for you. We got the men up next. We're going to start them off in the bronze medal ride. Starting on the home straight, we got the Bean Boozlers, Ryan Jastrab, Eric Young, Gavin Hoover, and Gregory Daniel. And on the back straight, Team Big Rig, Alex Brewer, Justin Butt Savage, Charles Mack Casson, and Tristan Manderfeld.
So if you're new to watching team pursuits, a lot of times you can keep yourself focused on what's happening in the race by counting how many times each of the athletes are on the front. Sometimes teams will have very specific strategies around who is on the front and when, sometimes using athletes early to then allow them to actually come up track, burning them off early, and then you'll see new strategies employed. Some riders taking full laps, other riders intentionally taking more than one full lap. We'll see what these strategies play out here, Alfred, on this 250-meter indoor wooden track. Well, and we have a little bit of a mechanical here, a pulled wheel. So this is Ryan Jastrab here, Al.
That's right, Ryan Jastrab. He'll get that taken care of. It's worth noting that 2 of our riders on the Bean Boozlers with Ryan Jastrab there, Gavin Hoover and Eric Young, were part of the squad that set a new American record last year at altitude in Aguas Calientes. Eric Young and Gavin Hoover, part of that Young, Hoover, Lambie, Lang quartet. A lot of excitement in American men's pursuiting these days.
So the men's programs are intentionally mixing up their rosters, right? So Al, you just talked about that pairing that was used to set the American record here. These athletes are actually here today, but they have intentionally changed up that order as the Americans men national team is looking for a new pairing, right? A new fast order by which they can be more competitive and look for a better opportunity for their Tokyo 2020 goals.
That's right. This event definitely an important part of the calculus that goes into the 2020 selections.
That's right. A result here at Nationals, getting a national championship with a new configuration does shed a little bit of opportunity for the athletes involved in those records here. Now, we are looking at a bronze medal ride here for some of the athletes, nevertheless making it into a medal round in the team pursuit. Still a good accomplishment, even if we are looking at different racing orders here. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll see who are the strong riders in these team pursuits as they are looking for opportunities on the national team based on these results.
That's right. Definitely a lot of moving chess pieces in terms of athletes, their capabilities, who works well together, because this is a team event. We will see the other half of that American record squad in the finals, part of Team Chickarones, Colby Lang and Ashton Lambie, part of our fastest qualifiers. They'll be going up against Texas Roadhouse Cycling in the gold medal heat coming up next. Looks like we've gotten that bike taken care of, and we're restaging for the start of the bronze medal heat of the men's team pursuit final. The top 4 teams racing this evening coming out of qualifying this morning.
Al, we've got our bronze medal ride on track here. 2 teams starting on the home straight. It was the Bean Boozlers, and across the way was Team Big Rig. Now, Big Rig has a few heavy hitters in there. Justin Butt Savage himself is the defending national champion in the scratch race. So Butt Savage out there in the blue and black of Star Trek out there. He's now just becoming first wheel here on the Big Rig. You can see they're hitting out the pace here of your Bean Boozlers very fast off the line. So Bean Boozlers, they've got Gavin Hoover in this group. Hoover absolutely phenomenal on the track again, as Al talked about earlier. Hoover and Young, both in Bean Boozlers right now, looking for a bronze medal. They were part of the American squad that set the American national record. Al, how are we doing on our times so far? Do we know yet?
So they're coming up on the 1K split, and there it is. Bean Boozlers setting the fastest time so far with a 106.77. Team Big Rig with a 107.7.
So it looks like our Bean Boozler's definitely riding fast. You'll notice that red and black kid out there. That's Trek Segafredo. That's Greg Daniels. He's a former U.S. national champion on the road. He then got an opportunity with Trek Segafredo. He's now back on track, though, looking for an Olympic starting spot in Team 2020. He's currently 4th wheel out there, former World Tour rider, but still a lot of young years in him. He's only in his early 20s. He's already gotten himself a U.S. Elite National Championship on the road. He's now trying to get his first Olympic qualification. That rider in red out there in the middle of those blue jerseys.
That's right. Both these teams now coming up on the halfway point. 8 laps in, 8 laps to go when they hit their respective home straights. Half a lap from now. Bean Boozler's got about almost 2 seconds over Team Big Rig. Team Big Rig definitely paying attention to those qualifying times. They're going out faster than they did this morning.
Yeah, and that makes sense. They're very motivated right now, maybe a little bit excited as well. When you get into these medal rounds at national championship events, sometimes adrenaline gets the better of your objective bias here in your pacing as you go out a little bit hot, and sometimes that can come back and bite you. Looks like Jastrab, though, here for Bean Boozlers, your first rider to come out of rotation. That's going to leave Hoover, Young, and Daniel, your 3 riders remaining. And look at the speed they're carrying through turn number 4 here, Al, as they rip through the start-finish line.
That's right. Jastrab was the sacrificial lamb earlier in qualifying, and so they are definitely playing their strategy the way they understand it, and they are bearing down on that other team.
Yeah, remember, we're not necessarily looking for a time right now. We are looking more so for the actual catch. So once the catch is made, they will not continue with the race. And here it comes. We can hear over race radio that catch is about to be called here. And ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for
There
Team
was the gun.
Boozlers. The Bean Boozlers getting themselves a bronze medal. Congratulations, Ryan Jastrab, Eric Young, Gavin Hoover, and Greg Daniel on a fantastic ride. Very nice form there, Al. There you can see their exchanges were nice and fast, using a lot of the track banking. No real hesitation when they came back in. Sometimes riders who don't have a lot of experience hesitate on the drop in, right? And that forces a different change in cadence. Your goal here in a team pursuit is keep your cadence as smooth and as buttery as possible. And that's how you know who our elite athletes are sometimes versus some newer riders on track.
That's right. Sometimes you'll see inexperienced teams come down early or come down late, and then, just like you said, Gabe, they've got work to do to try to accelerate, decelerate. And we're going to get ready now for the gold medal final on the home straight. Your fastest qualifiers from this morning: Team Chickarones, Shane Klein, Colby Lang, Grant Kuntz, and Ashton Lambie, the world record holder in the individual pursuit with his Stars and Stripes helmet on the 4th of July right here at the VELO Sports Center. And on the back straight in coordinated kits, Texas Roadhouse Cycling, John Kroom, Adrian Hegeberry, Daniel Holloway, and Daniel Summerhill.
All right, and clean starts. Al, this is our gold medal ride, and also here in Los Angeles, if you know somebody in this race along the way, which I know a lot of you do, make sure you make some noise for them to help them come home fast. This national title is on the line. Al, who do we have out here in our 2 teams? I know we've already said it once, but let's say it again, because this is our gold medal national championship ride.
That's right. Now, Texas Roadhouse in qualifying did exactly what they needed to do to qualify and no more, so we could see some surprises from there later. Both these teams going close to 40 miles an hour right now. Their running speed, 52 and 51 kilometers per hour.
I'm seeing some strategy here, though, and that's exactly what I thought. Shane Klein, your first rider. So he basically just did 3 laps full gas just to get them up to speed. And you saw he put in a huge dent into the advantage that Roadhouse had. And thanks to Klein's effort there, you have your Chickarones out there remaining with Colby Lang, Grant Kuntz, and Ashton Lambie. They've got the advantage in the race right now. So great strategy there to have a rider like Shane Klein, a very phenomenal athlete. He has now sacrificed himself, but he has set his team up for a possible national championship.
That's right, and they did that in qualifying, so they practiced that move already, and they're looking to execute it here in the final.
And you can see Texas Roadhouse a little wobbly through some of the turns here early on. They, in fact, took out one of our sponges here in turn 1. Looks like they've settled down a bit, but Grant Kuntz on the front, and now Lambo going to take over at the front with Lang on his wheel, but Lambo looks very good. Look and see that also Lambo and Colby Lang are both on their super bikes here today, so they've got those left drive side bicycles custom developed for the U.S. national team. Let's see where we are in our time splits, Al.
Okay, so the time split at the 2K was 2:02 to 2:06, but I was noticing that the gap is only closing slowly. We've got no slouch on Texas Roadhouse. Hedgeberry and Holloway, part of the international squad that's been doing World Cups all around the world. So 2 tremendous teams going for the national championship.
Yeah, we got a lot of very high caliber athletes out here. Many of these athletes have already done World Cups around the world. Remember Ashton Lambie out there in the red, white, and blue helmet and the bike hub, the Hoob Watt bike program out there. He has been absolutely phenomenal this season, but we cannot discount Colby Lang himself. Lang is one of the stalwart team pursuit riders out there. Lambo always highlights the abilities and smoothness that Lang brings to the team pursuit. So it's interesting to see that they've now brought Grant into this, as Kuntz is a little newer to the national team program. In fact, just introducing himself in T-Town 3 weeks ago. Now he's here in nationals trying to get himself a gold medal, but he's the rider with a little bit of trouble right now, Al, as they're trying to still make the catch.
That's right, and actually the gap is getting bigger again. Team Chickarones wrote a big check. They were out several seconds faster than they were this morning at the 3K. As we go into the final kilometer, final laps, in fact.
So our first team pursuit that we're going to see come down to the actual final laps. Chickarones is still with the advantage, but Lambie's been on the front for almost a full kilometer by himself, and it looks like he will be the one to bring it home if he can. Team Roadhouse trying to do what they can to bring it home, but Lambie comes across. Kuntz is your third wheel, and congratulations to Team Chickarones for getting themselves a national championship here today.
4:03.946, 59 kilometers per hour for Team Chickarones, your new national champions. Shane Klein, Colby Lang, Ashton Lambie, and Grant Kuntz.
Fantastic ride there. Ashton Lambie across the way did a lot of that work late in the race. He also had to meter his effort, though. He couldn't go so hard that Grant Kuntz could not hold on. Kuntz did a fantastic job, though, focusing on the hub in front of him, which was Colby Lang, so fantastic job there. And a shout out to Shane Klein as well for doing his job early on, setting them up for the advantage, in which point the final 3 riders were able to hold and maintain said advantage. So that is your men's team pursuit finals. Congratulations to everybody out there. We'll do our medal ceremonies at the end of tonight's program.
That's right. We're moving on to the women's team sprint. The men's team sprint should be going through bike check at this time. Swadner, Ainsley, Content, Galatello, Pack, Harrison, Buss, Boone, Bach, Delgado, Christensen, Hartman, and Swazi. About to have the bronze medal ride for the women's team sprint. Starting from the home straight, We Could Be Your Mom, Dawn Orwick and Kira Maximovich, and on the back straight, Edge Cycling, Marcy Bardman and Allison Wasilewski.
I really appreciate the tongue-in-cheek name conventions here on the home straight. If you got it, you own it.
That's right. Well, these are both very decorated Masters racers. You'll notice world champion stripes there on the lead rider. Rainbow stripes around the arms.
On the far stretch there with Edge Cycling, Marcy Bardman and Ali Wazalewski. Sprinters Edge having a really nice national so far in the junior ranks. Now as you get into the elites, we'll see some of those riders who have made it through those junior programs with Sprinters Edge now coming to the track.
Only half a second separating these two teams in qualifying. Each team will do 2 laps. The lead rider will do 1 lap pull off. The second rider will continue on for another lap. Time will be taken off of them. So team event, but a team sprint, not the enduro pursuit.
Sounds like we got some clean starts here, Al, and we are underway. We got those red kits on the far side, and here on the home side we could be your mom. Let's see which one of these two get themselves underway. And both teams a little bit separated early on now, but let's see if we can bring it home for the final lap.
We could be your mom with the fastest opening lap. 1 lap to go for both teams.
Wazalewski on track right now, trying to get on top of that gear. She comes to turn 1. This is actually her turn number 4 though right now, and 2. Let's see if Wazalewski can bring it home and get Sprinters Edge a bronze medal. And Sprinters Edge getting themselves the bronze medal here tonight. Ali Wazalewski and Marcy Bardman bringing home some hardware to the Lehigh Valley.
That's right. So the 4th fastest qualifier ends up with the 3rd place. So definitely picked up on their qualifying. Edge Cycling, Marcy Bardman and Allison Wazalewski. Wazalewski part of the 15 to 18 junior team sprint record coming into this competition. That American record broken by a new pair of juniors, as Wazalewski now joins the elite ranks with a bronze medal.
This is going to be our gold medal ride, ladies and gentlemen. Star Track will be here on the home straight with Maddie Godby and Sophie Shuhei. So Shuhei is actually still a junior. She's now racing in this elite gold medal ride. Across the way is going to be K, letter K.
Keely Cortman and Kayla Hankins out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Not a state known for its velodromes, but a fine racer none the same. Shuhei already picked up 2 national championships in the first 2 days of competition. Can she go 3-4-3?
Clean starts here. Al Shuhei going to be your first wheel, with Godby as second across the way. Your team K's, it looks like Hankins will be your second wheel, and Keely Cortman will lead it out, but Cortman off to a very strong start. Let's see if Hankins can get on to that wheel as we're coming through. We're hearing that bell for 1 lap to go. Shuhei swings up track, and Godby rips her around. Let's see if Hankins can hold on here, but Godby, a professional Keirin racer in Japan now. Can she hold on for the final? But Hankins is actually on top of the gear coming into the final few meters, and Godby takes the ride, and a gold medal going to Shuhei and Maddie Godby. Unprecedented ride there by your junior from T-Town.
That's right, Shuhei 3-4-3 with Maddie Godby. Godby part of the national record squad, so that team stacked with talent, and now they've got a national championship to show for it as well in 2019.
That was a fantastic ride. Really cool to see Sophie Shuhei here. She just still 17. She just turned 17 a few weeks ago at one of our races, in fact. So she still has a whole nother year in the juniors. And Hankins here, another rider in that ODP kit. You'll see those two pairing up with each other at some of our junior races and in the future in the elite ranks. So you're seeing a lot of future talent here, but already national championships being awarded.
That's right. We're about to go off and have the men's team sprint bronze ride, but before that, women 15-18 Madison, you should be going through bike check. You will be the event following the men's team sprint. We've got 2 heats going off on the bronze here. B squad, Swedner, Ainsley, Contant, Galatello on the home straight, and Pack, Harrison, Bus on the back straight.
So our men's team sprint, we're going to add a lap and a rider to the contest here. All right, sounds like clean starts here all around, and we're underway here for our bronze medal ride. Now, a few of these athletes out here are actually juniors right now. Ian Buss having aged out, but first wheel here, Justin Pack is a junior. Let's see how he holds up. And then back here with our ODP crew, these guys also still in the junior ranks, 2 out of 3, Al.
That's right, Justin Pack. I'm sure he'd like a bronze medal. It's his birthday today. Star Trek in the black and blue. B squad in the mix of ODP and performance cycling. We are going into the bell lap. 1 lap to go.
Jean-Luc Contant-Galitello on the front right now for the ODP crew, but Ian Buss is going to try to hold strong here. Let's see if he can bring it back strong, but Contant-Galitello looks like he's got the advantage, and it is, in fact, Contant-Galitello, the faster rider. So congratulations to the B squad for getting themselves a bronze medal here in Star Trek to 4th place at U.S. Nationals. That bronze medal ride for Ethan Swayner, Rex Ainsley, and Jean-Luc Contant-Galitello. Nice to see Star Trek coming out from New York City. They're doing a fantastic job developing a lot of athletes from around the Northeast region and New York City in particular. As you can see, they're here in the final rounds today. Great riding by that blue and black kit. We'll see a lot more of them in tonight's race program.
That's right, and we're moving on to our gold medal final. On the home straight, we're going to have ODP, Evan Boone, Peter Bach, and Sandor Delgado. On the back straight, Star Trek / Edge Cycling, Joe Christensen, Joshua Hartman, and Dominic Swozey. Swozey also from Arizona.
So you see those kits out there with the stars on the shoulders and the red band across the back. That's your Olympic Development Program athletes. So we just saw 2 of them. Now we've got all 3 on track here right now. That also indicates they are junior athletes technically. So these guys in a gold medal ride, let's see if some juniors can get themselves a national title in the elite team pursuit.
Sandor Delgado represented the U.S. at Junior Worlds a few years back out of Florida. And for everybody here in the house, be sure to tell your friends we are streaming live on the USA Cycling channel on YouTube as well as USA Cycling on Facebook.
Sounds like clean starts all around, and we are underway. Boone going to be your first rider there. As he comes out of the gate really strong, and here comes your Star Trek athletes, Hartman going to be your first wheel there with Christensen right behind. Let's see how these two teams pair up, but right now, your ODP athletes have the advantage after one lap. And we're coming to the second riders here. Christensen now going to try to finish strong here, and they're making up a little bit of ground, but there's your bell for one lap to go. Delgado's now tasked with trying to bring it home ahead of Susie here. Let's see how Delgado rolls here. He's got the advantage as they're on the back straight. He's got just 100 meters coming in. As they come into the final stretch here, it's to the final meter, and it will be ODP. Sandor Delgado gets himself a U.S. national title. Congratulations to our riders in red and blue.
Star Trek Edge Cycling silver medalist, B Squad bronze medalist. That concludes the men's team sprint.
Good job, buddy. Nice race.
It shows a lot of promise here, right, for our men's sprinting program, where our junior athletes taking an elite national title, working very well together. Their form on the track was really good, Al, right? Like, again, really nice, clean exchanges, winding up, not gapping each other off the line, staying all together. So your ODP athletes out there really showing some bright futures ahead for our U.S. sprint program on the men's side.
ODP dethroning Hartman, Christensen, and Swozy, last year's national champions. So we now move into the women's Madison. Madison named after Madison Square Garden, where the first exchange took place. Back in the day of 6-day racing around the turn of the last century, they'd race for 6 days because you couldn't race on Sunday. And it was whoever went the furthest distance won the race. And finally, one team went up on track and did a hand exchange. Everybody thought that was great. And the Madison was born, now known internationally as the American race. And we've had some great Madison teams over the years racing in those 6 days, still going on in Europe. In fact, some of our juniors, like Zoe Toperez, she's raced in Europe in those 6 days events for juniors, along with Michaela McPherson, who's on another one of the teams. So some great experienced women Madison racers in this 15-18 final.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how pairing up here of Melton 20 with Michaela McPherson and Olivia Cummins rolls, as those two showed really good form and definitely a ton of fitness when they were racing in T-Town a few weeks ago with us for some of our UCI events that we held. So McPherson and Cummins out there, they will be team number 62 out there. The pairing up with Jastrab and Top Perez, though, we'll have to keep a close eye on them, as they will absolutely be ones to watch. It looks like they'll be in the Lux cycling kits out there. So white tops for your team number 61.
That's right. All teams will be wearing matching jerseys. They will also have matching numbers. One will be wearing black numbers, one will be wearing red numbers. Our reigning national champions in this event are Jastrab and Toperez. They are on the same team, Sling to Win. Sending the relief riders to the back straight. They'll line up on the balustrade on the back straight. The racers that will start the race will start from the home straight. So your reigning national champions in white jerseys.
We're getting our final number checks going here, Al, and then once we get through that, we'll get these riders going. Riders here on the home straight, they will start the race. They will go past your relief riders, and then once we get our race started, the riders on relief will have to be pulled off the rail, and we'll get ourselves underway. This is our junior women's 15 to 18 Madison final, 60 laps on the board for them. We'll keep an eye on who's doing what out here. We'll do our best to keep our points up to date. For those of you here at the VELO Sports Center, there's a big blue screen over there in turn number 2, which will have some points. And then if you're watching at home on the live stream, Al and I will do our very best to keep you up to date.
That's right. This will be a 15-kilometer, 60 lap race. There will be sprints every 10 laps. So at 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 0 to go. If a team laps the field, they gain 20 points. If they're lapped by the field, they'll lose 20 points. Double points on the final sprint, if I remember correctly.
You remember correctly. So that gun means our race has officially started, and ladies and gentlemen, you're watching one of what will be your first exchanges out there. Mega Jazz Drive is on the front right now, and Top Perez here in turn number 1. Let's see how Top Perez will drop down, and then they will actually physically sling each other in. So Megan grabs the hand there of Top Perez and slings her into the race, transferring all of her energy to Zoe Top Perez. And now Jazz Drive will go up track once it is safe to do so. And Top Perez continues on.
And you'll notice teams passing over exchanges because the rider on the inside becomes what's known as a dead wheel after that exchange because they are exchanging momentum. You'll also notice the relief riders lining up in the same order as the riders in the race. That's so they don't get literally crossed up.
Yeah, it's very important, even though the rider on relief, so the rider riding slowly up track, they still have to pay attention to race order, and it is their job to drop in safely and make sure that they are not interfering with other riders here. So Jazz Drive going to have to move up a smidge here so she can drop down, and then we'll see that exchange. Top Perez grabs the hand, does the transfer, exchanging her energy, and now Jazz Drive is into the bike race.
Jazz Drive safely at the front with 55 laps to go. We're 5 laps away from the first sprint. The first 4 teams across the line will get 5, 3, 2, and 1 points on the intermediate sprints. 5 laps to go for points.
In those teal jerseys out there, that's going to be your Cummins and Michaela McPherson pairing. So nice that they've worn some nice bright jerseys for us here today. We'll be keeping an eye on those two, as they will be ones to challenge this race. That pairing riding well in T-Town a few weeks ago. We'll see how they fare here on the 250. A few more places to exchange on a 250 than a 333 like what we have in T-Town. Whoop, and we're trying to go up and over there. We missed an exchange in turn 3. Meanwhile, though, at the front of the race, still all together, and you can see now Top Perez and McPherson, your 2 riders in the group. So as I was talking about, in a 250, we're slightly more banking here, so there are more opportunities where you can drop into the race and still use the track banking to get yourself up to speed, whereas at T-Town, we have a 333-meter concrete track that's a little flatter. So there are fewer places where you can use the track banking to get yourself up to speed, and you have to time your exchanges accordingly. Ladies, that's your first bell of the race. Next time through, we will be awarding points at Top Perez. And it looks like Cummins in right now. Cummins is going to go over the exchange. Top Perez throwing Jazz Drive in, but Cummins has the advantage as they come into 3. I don't know if Jazz Drive is going to have enough track left, and it's going to be Cummins scoring first points. Jazz Drive rolling through there for second.
Okay, so the leaders are the field as Team Sling to Win and Melton pick up points, pick up the maximum points, 49 laps to go.
That's right. So your leaders of the field, because we have a small group here, we're going to have to pay attention to our race radio that's being fed to us in our ears here about what the front is considered. Because remember, as if you lap what is scored as the field, you get an additional 20 points. But if you are the field, of course, you cannot lap it. So we are now scoring your 2 leaders as the field right now. There we see. So that's going to be McPherson and Top Perez coming through, riding past other riders. And there we go. So your 2 leaders now doing the exchange. your riders in the teal jerseys with those 5 points, with Jastrab and Top Perez with 3.
So your 2 leaders coming through the home straight right now in the white and green jerseys. Those are your top 2 teams. Team Sling to Win in white and Melton 20 in green.
Looks like we had another team out there trying to get themselves back up onto the draft if they can of those 2, although I do believe they are already down a lap. We're going to try to do our best here to keep that up to date. And
so we got 2 teams down a lap. The Blonde Bombers, Team 60, they're in blue and white. And then Academy VELO Sport, Team 63, they're wearing the Northwest Cycling Club jerseys in black. They're also down a lap. Your leaders, it's Team Melton 20 with 5 points.
So you're actually seeing McPherson did not want to go to the back of the group, as she knows that she and the Lux Cycling riders are the riders who need to pay attention to each other. And you can actually see Jastrab waving Top Perez further up. She wants to get clear of the traffic here, as they don't want to be doing exchanges with the other riders around them. So Top Perez actually riding a little bit faster right now, trying to decide when to drop down and when she wants to do that exchange. They're going to try to time it for the sprint here so they're not caught out. We're not quite there yet, so we got to keep thinking. Top Perez just winding it up. There she goes. She drops in turn 1. And now McPherson has to find Cummins, because there's your attack by your Lux Cycling program. McPherson tagging in Cummins, but she's got a gap to fill here, as we're about to hear our bell at the start-finish line. Top Perez on the advantage, but Cummins now getting into the slipstream as they come into turn number 1. Cummins now trying to get up and over, make the pass in turn number 2. Cummins now making the pass in 3. Can she hold on to the line? Coming down a smidge early there in 4, but Cummins crossing the line first. Top Perez in second, and you have your team number 62 extending their advantage now with 10, and your Jastrab Top Perez with 6.
That's right. So Melton 20 leading with 10 points. Sling to Win behind them with 6. Same as it was last time. Melton 20 picking up the 5. Sling to Win picking up the 3. 4 sprints to go. 39 laps showing on the cards.
And so for those of you at home as well, not looking at our score sheets, also remember that the team number 64 Academy VELO Sport, team 60 Blonde Bombers, and the team 63 Academy VELO Sport team 2, they're actually down laps right now. So even if they are close to your 2 other leader teams on the track physically, by the way we score in Madison, they are down on laps. And so that's for that reason, Al and I are focusing on the Top Perez and the McPherson Cummings duos.
That's right. So Melton 20 leading with 10, Sling to Win 6, Academy VELO Sport Team 64 with minus 16, Blonde Bombers with minus 18, Academy VELO Sport Team 63 wearing the Northwest Cycling Club jerseys, minus 40. 36 laps to go, 9 kilometers remaining in the race, but more importantly, a little less than a mile to go until the sprint at the halfway point. 30 laps in, 30 laps to go. Back to you, Gabe.
Yeah, that's right. So about halfway, we're going to start to see some race dynamics here. Very interesting to see that the Top Perez and the Jastrab pairings are actually on their heels here, as we'd say. There aren't that many sprints in this race, so you have to be scoring points when you can get them. Even though the final sprint is double points, if you have too much of a disadvantage, those double points don't really mean much for you if you're not there to capitalize on it. So again, the pairings with the teal jerseys have 10 points. The pairings with the white jerseys, they have 6 points right now. So 4 points separating your 2 teams out there. And because we're still in standard points, no matter what happens at this next sprint, if we're looking at first and second place points, you will still have your pairing with the teal jersey in the race lead.
We need men's Madison to come to bike check. Peter Moore, Billy Taylor, Dejan Parks, Jimmy Capella, Grant Carter, Zach Olszewski. Wolfgang Lockmiller, Eddie Huntsman, Hayden Fox, Jackson Capella, Brody McDonald, Ian Ulrich, Brendan Hodgins, and Jacob Zondlak, please come to bike check at this time. We're 2 laps away from the sprint, Gabe.
Yeah, we're seeing these athletes really starting to dig in here. McPherson tried to make a pass, and Jastrab didn't want her to do it. McPherson throwing Cummins in, but Jastrab now on the offensive here. She is digging in hard. She's got the advantage physically over Cummins. It does not look like, oh, they may actually try to do an exchange here late, but Jastrab coming in with a lot of heat, so she'll get 5 max points. Cummins there will get 3 points for the first time we've seen those two change their roles here. So now your riders with the teal jerseys, they still have the lead in the bike race as far as points are concerned, even though they scored second place. But look at this, Al, Top Perez and Jastrab absolutely on the offense.
That's right. Jastrab has been on offense throughout the points races, first in the International Omnium and then again last night in the points race, winning every sprint. So it was kind of surprising to not see her on a team winning the sprints from the get-go in the Madison, but I'm sure she's done the math and knows exactly what she needs to do to get yet another national championship. She's got 27 laps to do it.
27 laps, still a long ways for these riders to go by themselves. Remember, Jastrab, she's a very good tactician as well, so she may have just abated your McPherson and Cummings team to thinking they had the advantage, forcing them to sprint hard early, and then as we get into the deeper laps of the race, the later laps in the race, they now took advantage of that. As you can see, they're actually settling in now. They do not have to do a lot of work once they already have the physical advantage over the second place team, and Cummins just really suffering out there right now. As you can see, now we have Top Perez and Jastrab coming back in. You're defending national champions.
That's right. So we really got 2 races going on here. You got a 2-point separation between Melton 20 and Sling to Win for gold and silver, but you also got a 3-point difference between Team 64, iAcademy Velosport, and the Blonde Bombers, Team 60 in the blue and white. They are only separated by 3 points. Actually, it's an iAcademy Velosport tie, minus 38 points. So only 3 points separating the 4th step off the podium and the 3rd step on the podium. So definitely a race within a race going on with 23 to go.
Yeah, at national championships, we do talk about the entire podium, so we will shift our focus, as Al just said, looking at team number 64 out there. They want to hold on to that bronze medal as they have it right now. So it's going to be Paula Che and Chloe Patrick out there. It's okay. And Patrick there, they come through right now, and that's their rider there, also coming through turn number 1. But we're about to get ourselves into the next bell lap here, Al, as our leaders on track. Here is Jastrab right now. Let's see where we're scoring this whole thing.
So Jastrab definitely has hit things hard, put half a lap between Sling to Win and Melton 20. And it looks like they've just been awarded the lap, and there's the bell.
So it looks like we've actually awarded a lap being made by Jastrab, and so Melton 20, now the leaders on the track. So Cummins rolls through, she gets 5 max points, even though they are now down 20 on the other pair. So let's rewind that a little bit, Al, just so everybody's on the same page. The leader of the bike race by points are going to be your riders in the white jerseys with the red Lux sideshow on their backs. This is going to be Megan Jastrab and Zoe Top Perez. They actually were scored as making a complete lap on second place in the race, which is your teal jerseys out there with Michaela McPherson and Olivia Cummings. When they made that lap, we changed over who is scored as the first rider on the track. And therefore, your riders in the teal jerseys were given 5 maximum points that last time through. Track cycling out, we like to keep it really straightforward so everybody immediately understands what's going on here. But your leaders of the bike race are the Lux Sideshow with 34 points. Your Melton 20, your riders with the teal jerseys, physically second on the track, are second overall, even though they were awarded 5 maximum points that last time through.
That's right. We're looking at 16 laps to go, 4 kilometers remaining, and it's still a 2-point separation between Team 64, iAcademy Velosport in the white and orange, and Team 63 in the Northwest Cycling Club black jerseys.
That's right. So both of your iAcademy Velosport teams out here are actually within bronze medal striking distance. So we may shift our focus to them if we can see where they are here and where they can be scored for getting points as they come through here. But we're down to 14 laps to go overall. Everybody will finish on the lead lap here. So even though a few riders will do fewer than 60 laps overall, they will still be scored within the bike race. And we are looking for Team 64 versus Team 63 out there. Both teams with the name iAcademy Velosport.
That's right. Team 63, they're in black. Team 64 in white and orange. We got 13 lucky laps to go. This is the penultimate sprint, the last intermediate sprint, 5, 3, 2, and 1. It'll be double points on the final sprint.
There it is. So as we come in, as Al was just talking about, this next sprint that they will hear, so the next time that bell rings, we'll be awarding 5, 3, 2, and 1. We call that normal place points, the intermediate points, because the final bell of the race are double points. It's 10, 6, 4, and 2 in that order across the line. So if you win the final sprint, you do get 10 points. And there is your bell. So coming through, there are your leaders, 62 and 61, I believe. It's going to be McPherson and Jastrab in right now. Let's see if McPherson can hold off Jastrab here late. Let's see if Jastrab even goes for it. McPherson definitely wants it as they come to the line. Well, that was interesting. I got to go to the camera there, Al.
Yeah, definitely going to have to go to the camera. That one, we had 2 exchanges, one on either side of the line. Very exciting racing as we've got 9 laps to go. 9 laps to go.
It looks like we had Jastrab scored as making the 5 max points there last time through. So do a little slow-mo on that one, but Jastrab scored as getting the 5 max points. McPherson and Cummings, they're doing an exchange late, may have impeded their 5 max points on the race. We're within single digits, ladies and gentlemen, single digits of this bike race. This is your junior women's 15 to 18 Madison final. This is for a U.S. national title. Your defending national champions, Megan Jastrab and Zoe Top Perez out there doing a fantastic job. They are currently your leaders with 37 points. In second, in the teal jerseys, Michaela McPherson, Olivia Cummins, they have 23. But we're looking actually at our third place race, as Al has so well spoken of so far. Team number 64 and 63 will take it to the final sprint. Team number 64 from iAcademy Velosport, they have negative 52, and your team with 63, also iAcademy Velosport, they've got negative 55. So 3 points separating. They could see possibly a little shift there at the end, although it's only a 2-point split there, so we're going to have to do a little math. We may have figured that out at the end.
That's right. We're coming into the final laps. 5 to go. 5 to go.
So we're getting a few little race radio protocol over the ears here, but as we go, we're looking at 4 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're here at the Velo Sports Center, do make a little bit of noise for these athletes. This is their national championship as they're coming around here. Jastrab and Top Perez going to try to take the win, but Cummins right now going to try to hit them hard one last time just for good measure to see if she can be the first one to come across the line. 3 laps to go here at the Velo Sports Center in your junior women's 15-18 Madison Championship event.
3 laps, 750 meters to go. Patrick at the front of the field, potentially in position to pick up maximum points in that final sprint. It's a 4-point bonus between 10 and 6 points. 2 laps to go. Back to you, Gabe.
2 laps remaining here. Now we're seeing a little bit of cat and mouse, even though our point spread doesn't necessarily need this tactic, but we're going to do it for good measure just to practice a little bit for when we jump up into our World Cup dynamics later on. Top Perez now out of the saddle. She's going to come through. Next time through, she will hear that bell. She's going to throw in Jastrab here in turn 4. There's your bell for 1 lap to go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make a little bit of noise as we get them round the track one last time. Michaela McPherson tries to get on top of that gear, but Jastrab is hard on it, but McPherson's coming fast as they come into 4. Jastrab kicks again. McPherson's coming fast, but across the line, your U.S. national champion will be Megan Jastrab when the pairing with Zoe Perez.
Silver medalist Michaela McPherson, Olivia Cummins, and bronze medalist iAcademy Velosport Paula Che and Chloe Patrick. Our next event is the men's 15-18 Madison, but we need to start getting our junior women 11 through 12 scratch racers through bike check, as well as the men 11 through 12. So Irie Chen, Alexis Jaramillo, Louisa Kelly, Audrey Zentz, Alexa Castro, Anna Harrison, Emma Jimenez Palos, and Sofia Rossi. Please proceed to bike check at this time. Your event will be following the men's 15-18 Madison.
So as we get these guys up to the line, well, shout out to Bike Flights for helping us out here, getting a lot of our athletes to the actual venue, shipping their bikes. Never easier with Bike Flights, whether you're selling or shipping your own stuff. Check them out at bikeflights.com, and thanks to them for being a sponsor of USA Cycling. There's a little discount out there too, I'm told, but check out bikeflights.com. They've been a big supporter of everything we do. I've certainly used them a number of times just to get my stuff around the country when I was racing bikes. Nice to have them continuing to support us at bikeflights.com. So next up on track right now, looks like we've got our junior men's Maddo final. Nice to see some of our Detroit athletes making it onto the track. In fact, the Lexus Velodrome doing a fantastic job running a lot of Madisons in the wintertime on their very small track up there, but that teaches all the athletes how to do Madisons with absolute proficiency. So we're going to keep an eye on our riders in those purple tops out there, it looks like, from Detroit. See how they go. In fact, it will be Hayden Fox and Jackson Capella today. Capella, I believe, is up here on the rail, which means Fox will be across the way. Okay. What are they wearing? What's that? What are they wearing?
So they're rolling out for their neutral lap. They're handsomely bunched. The starter will blow the pistol. That'll signify the start of racing. This will be an 80-lap race, a 20-kilometer affair. Once again, sprints every 10.
"80 laps. Woo.
That's a big boy distance.
For real. I'm glad they got the lap counter. I'd lose track after a little bit. Big thanks to our officials for being out here doing a fantastic job keeping us all straight and narrow here and keeping our points in check. Looks like some of our first exchange is going to be from T-Town out there. Zach Olszewski being thrown in by Grant Carter. Carter, a defending, or actually he'll going for another national title. He was their 13-14 Omnium champion last year in T-Town. But Zach Olszewski in right now, just aging up into the 15-18s. Let's see how he rolls here today. Those riders representing Gotham Bikes by my eye. Let's see what name they chose. Chonkers. Very original names out there today. We're seeing how fast we're going here. Olszewski checking over the shoulder here, and you'll see a bunch of exchanges around. And our Detroit pairings here at the back. That's going to be, I believe, DJ and Jimmy Capella out there.
29 miles an hour, so next time you're going down the road at 30 miles an hour, imagine having somebody come by and just pick you up on your bike.
I see Ian Ulrich out there in the ODP kit. He'll be paired up with Brody. And those guys definitely know how to hit it. Let's see what we're ripping here, though. Looks like just in time. Hitting out early.
Right, being chased by Star Trek, Peter Moore and Billy Taylor. They're in the black kits with the blue sleeves. So 2 teams off the front with 74 laps to go. We're only 1K away from the first of 8 sprints. Back to you, Gabe.
We did miss a sprint there, and that's going to cost those guys as we have McDonald coming up over the top there. So McDonald there in the ODP kit, not in his VeloSport kit. And he checks over the shoulder, and we did see just in time missing an exchange here early, and this field is absolutely blowing apart as Star Trek and your other riders going to start to really bring home the actual chase before we even get to our first points.
37 miles an hour with 500 meters to go for points. Star Trek and Academy at the front.
And that's your first bell. It's going to be Pete Moore and Billy Taylor. Taylor going to be thrown in here in turn number 2. Those guys are going to go up and over the top. Can Billy hold on for 5 max points here the first time around? It looks like he's got the advantage, and Billy Taylor gets himself 5 max points first time through. Academy rolling through with 3 points, and those guys off to a nice start here in our national championship race.
Yeah, that second place points picked up by Alexander Wolfgang Lockmiller, who won the Kieran last night. 69 laps to go.
As you told it, for those of us who weren't here in the Vela Sports Center, Wolfgang Lockmiller went early in the Kieran, so he is more of an endurance rider, threw himself into the Kieran, and as soon as the bike pulled off, he just went for it, and he was able to hold off a hard-charging field, getting himself a national title in the sprint discipline, even though he is considered more of an endurance rider. As we can see here right now in this 80-lap event, he is up near the front, right on the draft there of our Ian Ulrich, as they're trying to actually separate themselves. In front of your race coming through here right now, ladies and gentlemen, with Star Trek in the lead with Pete Moore, and Ulrich getting right there with Lockmiller now in chase.
That's right, we got 3 teams at the front of the race. Your leaders, Star Trek with 5, Academy with 3, and VeloSport with 2. The best of the rest is Detroit versus everybody with 1 point. 65 laps to go.
We'll see the race dynamics out here. Maybe a little bit different than what Detroit is used to, just because of the way the track rides. You know, sometimes you get really familiar with how a track rides. You know how to use the banking to your best benefit, dropping in at different points, or even how to get used to the G-forces in the turns. And then when you jump to a different track like this 250 here in LA, you're not quite used to it yet, but that's all right. They're still getting themselves in the points mix, and that is Detroit versus everybody. Let's see if they can hold on here, as we're seeing our leaders now starting to play a little cat and mouse. And may be a good opportunity for our Detroit teams.
That's right, Detroit versus everybody. That Lexus Velodrome, a great Dale Hughes track, 167.5 meters. 62 laps to go, 500 meters to go for the points, Gabe.
Yeah, next time through, we're going to be ringing that bell, and you can see these guys anticipating that sprint. So sprinting for almost 2 full laps here. And they're just trying to ride a few riders off the back, and let's see where our exchanges take place. There's your bell. It's going to be Ian up and over. Let's see how long he can hold on. Ian Ulrich there on the front for ODP, riding Pete Moore off the wheel. Then your team number 51 unable to hold on. So Ian Ulrich coming across for 5 maximum points there. And at the line, you're going to see your iAcademy riders pipping your Star Trek riders right there.
Velo Sport picking up maximum points in that sprint. Star Trek and iAcademy behind them picking up the minor placings. We'll get the totals for you momentarily. 59 laps to go in this 80-lap race.
So VELO Sport will have 7 once we do our math and get this page updated. There it is. So now tied up at 7 will be Star Trek and VELO Sport, those two teams with 7 points apiece. With 6 points, we've got iAcademy. That's going to be your pairing with Alexander Lockmiller and Eddie Huntsman. That team has 6 points, and with 1 point out there, it will be Detroit versus everybody. Detroit versus everybody with Hayden Fox and Jackson Capella.
So with 2 sprints completed, first place is Team 52 Star Trek, tied with VELO Sport. Third place iAcademy with 6. Fourth place Detroit versus everybody with 1. 56 laps to go.
All right, so we're still scoring our leaders here as your riders at the front with going to be Ulrich here and I believe Lockmiller. So Lockmiller and Ulrich, you can see them in turn number 2 right now, doing that exchange, throwing McDonald in. So McDonald, Lockmiller, that's actually Zach Olszewski. Olszewski third wheel visibly, even though they have not yet scored a point. In fact, they're down a little bit in the overall. So we've got our 2 leaders in the race visually in front, and they're here Star Trek though with Billy Taylor. They're actually now about half a lap down. So excuse me. So your teams that are tied for first place, Star Trek down half a lap. They are half a lap down physically on the ODP kits out there as they try to get themselves back into contention.
That's right, Team VELO Sport in the ODP kit with the Stars. They are tied for first place. They've put a bite into Star Trek, now trying to get back on terms. 52 laps to go, 500 meters to go for the sprint.
Yeah, and there you go. You've got Brody dropping down there. He's going to try to get himself up to speed so he can get Ian in for the sprint. Nice exchange there by Brody and Ian. You can see that transfer of power into Ian's bike. Now Ian checking over the shoulder, already up to speed. He's going to try to hold Lockmiller off for as long as he can here. And there he kicks into turn 1, watching out for these exchanges as they come over. Lockmiller a little tied up in traffic. That gives Ian a little bit of the advantage so they come through for Ulrich. We'll take 5 max points, and there your other pairing of Team 51 for the iAcademy will roll through for second.
So that'll break the tie, put VELO Sport in the lead. iAcademy will move up as well as Star Trek gets less points in that last sprint, 49 laps to go.
So we've seen a few of our leaders established in this race with our ODP athletes on our score sheet listed as VELO Sport as they do race for that trade team on the road. But today they've got the US ODP kits on. You'll see them out there, and trying to hold blow for blow with them will be Academy with Alexander Lockmiller and Eddie Huntsman. Behind them, you'll see the rest of the field doing what they can to keep themselves into contention, and Star Trek actually still trying to chase here. They're about a half a lap down on the leaders, but they have not yet been lapped. Let's see if Star Trek here with Billy Taylor and more can get themselves back into the draft before the speed picks up.
Jackson Capella there on the orange bicycle, silver medalist in the match sprint, now racing the Madison from Detroit, Michigan. Got the point totals from that last sprint, so Velosport sits on 12 points, Academy 3 points behind them with 9, Star Trek only 1 point behind them with 8. The rest of the teams are down laps. And so it'll be those top 3 fighting amongst themselves for the podium spots. 45 laps to go.
We remind riders that if you are on relief, do not ride in the sprint lane, please. Please go up track. If you are on relief, if you are not out of the way, you will be relegated in this race. So please, if you are not in the race, come up track, please. The race dynamic out there, very interesting. It's interesting to see how important the finesse of our bike race is. You see our stars starting to come back together as Billy Taylor and Moore getting themselves back into contention, but they are out of contention right now because of some of their exchanges weren't as smooth as they could have been. You can see they physically have the ability to race the speeds of these other riders, but if you're not proficient in your Madison exchanges, your physical ability may not matter in the end, as the smoothness is absolutely what's critical here as Taylor now makes contact. They missed an exchange. Taylor calls off Moore, so Moore was not thrown in there. Taylor gets into the draft. Let's see if that strategy works out. Star Trek now back into the bike race.
That's right. They burned a lot of matches getting back up to the field, but now we're going into another sprint again, and it's going to get strung out as Wolfgang Lockmiller comes up to pick Eddie Huntsman, throw him in for the sprint.
Huntsman doing a nice job staying on top of that gear. Can Ian get up and over the top here? A little bit of traffic at the line, and it looks like Lockmiller actually holds on there. Nice ride there by those two athletes. Not able to get through. He was a little caught up by some traffic there in turn number 4. Another reminder to athletes, if you are not in the bike race, please come up to the rail to keep yourself out of the race line.
So it's going to be a 1-point race between Velosport and Academy after that last sprint. 15 to 14 points. Star Trek still in it with 8. We got 4 more sprints to go, Gabe. It's 39 laps of racing to go.
Yeah, that's great to see. Now, Star Trek in a little bit of a bad spot there. As soon as Billy Taylor made contact, we rolled right into that sprint, and the acceleration from that sprint lap actually rode Taylor back off the group. So now Moore has to try to get himself back up into the draft, and if he can do that, that means that he will try to get rest and recover, but Taylor already looking over his shoulder as he's about to get thrown back in. So not a lot of time here for these riders to rest and recover here at this at this junior elite Madison Points Championship race.
36 laps to go, 9 kilometers remaining in the race, but more importantly, a little less than a mile to go until that next sprint.
And a reminder, Team 54, if you can please exit the sprint lane when you are not in the race. So Team 54, please exit the sprint lane when you are not in the race. Thank you. Here is your race, in fact, coming in the sprint lane as they roll through the start-finish line, trying to give Star Trek a little bit of time to recover as they are all together. So physically, we can see them all together right now, but our race is spread apart, and we are looking at Velosport versus Academy. Those two teams separated by just 1 point out there. If you're here at the Velosport Center, team number 55 and team number 51, and if you're watching on the live stream, it's going to be your red stripe on the back. That's your team with the lead, and then the team with the blue back, black shorts, that's going to be your team in second. out there. They're looking at each other intently right now, Al. What's going on here? We're getting close to another bell lap.
Well, they've been beating each other up for quite a few laps here. That was the calm before the storm as we are now going into the sprint. And it looks like Star Trek recognized the opportunity and took off with 32 to go. It's 500 meters to go for points.
Pete Moore trying to make up for a little bit of lost time earlier. They're still on the lead lap. They're the only 3 teams are on the lead lap. Star Trek is one of them. If he can get 5 max points here, that puts them back into silver medal contention here. Here is your bell. Taylor being thrown in. These guys are going to try to get these 5 max points, but McDonald now on top of that gear. And here comes Eddie Huntsman, but Billy Taylor on top of it. Can he hold off the hard-charging ODP athletes just a few meters to the line? And Billy Taylor gets a sprint, and ODP not getting second, in fact, as the I-Academy group rolls across for second.
That's right, Alexander Wolfgang Lockmiller picking up the 3 points, denying VeloSport a point. And that ties it up. We have a tie, ladies and gentlemen, between Team 51 I-Academy and Team 55 VeloSport in that ODP kit. Star Trek got rid of some of their deficit. They are only 4 points behind. We got 3 sprints to go. 3 sprints to go.
3 sprints to go here, and it sounds like we're going to start pulling teams off the track if they're too far out of contention. So athletes, please be aware of what the officials are telling you out there. If they ask you to leave the track, please do so safely. At the front of your bike race right now, it's Moore trying to keep Ian Ulrich in check here as we've got Huntsman right there. And it looks like Grant Carter is going to try to hold on, even though Carter is actually down in the overalls. But great to see Star Trek getting themselves back into contention here. They were very much off the pace. Remember, at one point almost getting lapped, and they rode back from that deficit. Now they're looking for moving themselves up into further podium potentials. Currently sitting third. That's your Star Trek kit out there in the all blue side panels and black chest. A lot of blue out there, Al.
That's right. And so those are your top 3 teams coming through the start-finish line now on the back straight. I-Academy blue body black sleeves, Star Trek black body blue sleeves, and VeloSport in that ODP kit with the stars on the right arm on the 4th of July. 6 kilometers remaining in the race, 1 kilometer to go for the anti-penultimate sprint.
Yeah, 24 laps to go. So these guys are now thinking about how they're going to strategize the final few kilometers here. They don't want to go too early, but they also don't want to let this race come back together too much, because some of these athletes can start scoring points again, which may affect the overall, especially now that we have a tie for first and second right now. And Star Trek still well within gold medal contention here. Star Trek starts scoring max points, they could actually see themselves back into first place overall. So strategy here, it's got to balance patience with aggression.
And with 500 meters to go, they all got each other's attention. They're racing down the back straight now.
Oh, and we're going to be coming into a bell here, ladies and gentlemen, as we see our team number 51 now trying to get on top of the field. That's going to be Eddie as it comes through there. And now it's going to be Pete Moore coming up and around. ODP a little off their exchange timing there with a big deficit to make up for. Even though Brody's a fantastic sprinter, that's going to be too many meters for them to get. And Peter's going to come across 5 max points for Star Trek. They're getting themselves back into gold medal territory here. Resurgent late in this race, exactly when they need to be.
Yep, Peter Moore picked up a national championship earlier in this competition, maybe looking to add another one to his total as we're looking at 19 to go, 2 sprints remaining.
What did Moore get his championship? We're seeing our ODP athletes now. They may start to be a little more aggressive here as we're getting our points updated on the screen. There it is, Star Trek with 5 max, VeloSport with the 3, I-Academy with 2. So that's going to show us Velo Sport into the lead now with 20, iAcademy in second with 19, and Star Trek with 18. So your top 3 teams separated by 1 point each out there. Every sprint matters, Al. Every single sprint through on out will matter for this national championship.
Anybody's race as we come into the final 2 sprints. Only 1 point separating each of those teams. Double points on the final sprint. Lots of differentials to be given. 16 laps, 4 kilometers to go.
Interesting to see Huntsman and Lockmiller attacking this group repeatedly, but here's your first big attack right now by Ian Ulrich as he comes into the exchange with Brody McDonald. Now throwing McDonald in, now on top of the pedals here. 15 laps to go, trying to really string this out, trying to blow some of the other riders off this group if he can. And it looks like Star Trek and Eddie Huntsman able to manage that pace. So you can see those aggressive tactics happening, but they're not fully committing yet, and the other team's able to hold on here with 14 laps to go.
Billy Taylor thrown in. Wolfgang Lockmiller thrown in. It's 1 kilometer to go for points.
Taylor looking over the shoulder. You don't want to go too early. Remember, these guys were nearly a half a lap down at one point just because their tactics of exchange weren't correct. They were able to make up for it earlier. Now they're in bronze medal position, but they cannot make that mistake again. There's not enough time left in this bike race to make a mistake with your exchanges at this time. So let's check over our shoulders. Let's look for where our relief riders are, because next time through, we're going to be hearing a bell as we're 500 meters out from this next bell.
3 kilometers remaining in the race, but we're about to go into that bell lap. Billy Taylor looking to get to the front of that group, get his rider in for the sprint.
And there it is. Moore going a little bit slow there as he dropped down, but Taylor exchanged the energy through, and Moore now on top of the gear. He made up for dropping in a little bit late, but look at this nice exchange now by ODP, and now Lockmiller coming up and around. Can Moore hold on? Lockmiller gets up and around, and he takes that sprint. So Lockmiller 5 max points, now throwing Eddie back in. Let's see if these guys stay on top of that gear.
Alexander Wolfgang Lockmiller showing the same speed he did in the Kieran last night. He's just doing it 8 times tonight.
Really good racing here at the front of the field, and there is your updated points. So iAcademy now, team number 51. That's going to be Lockmiller and Huntsman with 24 points. Your Velo Sport group, also here from SoCal, that's going to be your ODP athletes out there this evening with 22, and Star Trek with 21. So Star Trek still looking to get themselves into the final medal, and the final point sprint will determine this, as 2 points separate all of our final sprints, with 10 points for the winner, 6 for second, 4 for third. We're going to be looking for how those top 3 teams come into the final lap.
Only 3 points separating the top 3 teams from first to third, and it's a 4-point bonus for that last sprint. 7 laps from now.
So we will have to do a little bit of math, because say Star Trek wins the final sprint, but we have Ian Ulrich or McDonald come through in second. We'll have to see if they can hold on for iAcademy's overall placing there. So we may see a little bit of shuffling here, but it definitely will be very exciting in our final few laps. Single digits here at the Velo Sports Center in Los Angeles, California. As they're coming through turn 4, it's going to be 5 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. 5 laps remaining here. That's Ian Ulrich on the front, Pete Moore right behind him, and I believe that's going to be Lockmiller with the brown hair out there. He is going to be third wheel. Zach Olszewski and Jackson Capella rounding out that group on the track right now. You can see your top 3 teams, though, looking at each other very intently. Al, how do you think this final few laps are going to play out?
Like a 3-up match sprint with 4 laps to go. Jackson Capella recognizes the opportunity.
Now this is interesting, because Capella's team is way outside of contention for the overall. So what happens if Capella's team ends up getting the 10 max points at the end? Will we score it that way? We'll have to go to the officials on that one.
They would give him the 10 points because his team has already been decremented on the laps, so that would remove the opportunity to get that big point differential, and it would just be the 6 and the 4. There'd only be a 2-point differential available, and our top 3 recognize that as we come into the final 2 laps, Gabe.
Final 2 laps here. If you're in the VELO Sports Center, let's make some noise and bring these guys home. This has been a fantastic race. We're hearing the bell for 1 lap to go, ladies and gentlemen. 1 lap to go. Taylor comes around, but Ulrich trying to make the pass high with Lockmiller in right now. Eddie's in there, right now, but Ulrich makes the final pass. Taylor tries to get into the draft, but Ulrich is on top of the gear, and Ian Ulrich comes to the line, and he gets himself the national championship. Oh, fantastic racing out there by our junior men. Let's give them a round of applause as they come through, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Ulrich.
Team Velosport, your national champions with 32 points. I-Academy can be very proud. Silver medal with 28 points. Star Trek, 27 points. Great racing from all the teams out here. The men's 15 to 18 Madison final.
Wow, that was awesome. You guys, thanks so much for coming out and hanging out with us here tonight in Los Angeles at the VELO Sports Center. My name is Gabe Lloyd. I'm joined here by Al Nash, the longtime commentator here in LA. Alfred, how is this Nationals going for you?
Yeah, it's going really well. There's been a tremendous amount of exciting racing, including the juniors. We're about to have the women's 11 through 12 scratch race. As I said before, we've had 2 American records set already in competition. I expect to see a few more before things end. It's always a fascinating event when the juniors come to town. Going to start things off with the women, 11 through 12. We have Era Chen, Alexis Jaramillo, Louisa Kelly, Audrey Zentz, Alexa Castro, Anna Harrison, Emma Jimenez Polos, and Sophia Rossi right here from Southern California.
And we're off. We have our 11-12 women's scratch race. This is part of their Omnium. Is that right, Al?
That's right. It's an Omnium, and depending on their placings in this event, the winner will pick up 1 point, second place will pick up 2 points, and then after all the events in the Omnium, those points will be totaled up, and whoever gets the lowest score, it's just like golf, wins the game.
All right, we got some nice aggressive tactics here off the line as we get this race started. Emma, right?
And it's Lexus Velodrome Racer 280 Emma Jimenez Polos off the front. It's only an 8-lap race. They're coming around. They're going to see 7 to go. .279 now coming up to the front. That's Alexis Jaramillo of Front Rangers Junior Cycling out of Colorado.
6 laps to go here. Al's got his stopwatch out. We're going to be doing some math here. It's one of his favorite things to do. So we're looking for our speeds on track right now. Really nice to see everybody pretty much all together for the moment. One of our athletes a little off pace, but everybody else still riding well. 11, 12-year-olds out here right now. 11 to 12 still racing well for this first of 3-part Omnium, I believe.
Yeah, so after that first surge of speed, there was a calm, and we're going to maybe see a counterattack now as we got another rider coming to the front, starting to push the pace.
Nice to see some of our Mission Devo cycling athletes presented by Tyler Perry Studios coming to us from Atlanta, Georgia in the mix. She just pulled through. She was first wheel last time through. That's Audrey Zentz out there. But they've got a whole crew down there in the infield. Welcome to LA from Atlanta, Georgia, you guys.
Yeah, Louisa Kelly Brom across the line at 24 miles an hour. It's 3 laps, 750 meters to go. This is their first race in their Omnium.
Now, how's this sprint going to play out? Remember, you don't want to go too early here. No matter what category you're in, if you go too hard too early, you will not make it to the finish line in first place. Right now, we're going to be looking at just under 2.5 laps to go as the athletes are looking around at each other. The sprints are starting to set up, catching a little bit of lap traffic there. Looking at 2 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. Here is your wind-up for the sprint by your rider from Detroit. One more time, Emma Jimenez Palos trying to get herself a first victory of this 11-12 Omnium.
That's right, great program there at the Lexus Velodrome. 1 lap to go.
Rebel, and there she is. She's on the front, but now we got a pass here late as they're coming through. But your rider from Detroit up on top of the gear, Jimenez Palos, but from the back to the front, your rider in blue and yellow now very resurgent out of turn number 2 through 4. She's got the advantage to the line.
Alexis Jaramillo takes the victory. 2 Velosport riders get in there for second and third. That's Era Chen and Sophia Rossi representing for SoCal.
Nice ride, and all of you 11, 12-year-olds, and thank you parents for coming out and cheering your kiddos on while they're here very far from home, some of them at least, so great job to all of you. Remember, if you're here in LA at the Velosport Center, we've got some food trucks outside, and we also got some commemorative event t-shirts over by the front door, so be sure to pick one up before you head on home.
So our top 5 picking up medals in the awards ceremony this evening, it is Alexis Jaramillo, Era Chen, Sophia Rossi, Emma Jimenez Palos, and Alexa Castro. Top 5, they'll be going home with medals this evening. Up next, it's the men 11 through 12. Got Yosef Gonzalez, Sasha Hagobian, Benjamin Jurassic, Noah Shumskas, Enzo Edmonds, Vem Hagobian, Ezeal Hernandez, JC Pyle, and Aaron Wang in the men's 11 through 12.
So Enzo Edmonds out here in the Star Trek kit. There he is. Enzo actually swept all the 11-12 events in Hagerstown, Maryland a few weeks ago. He got the time trial, the crit, and the road race. Let's see if we can get himself some track national championships here in Los Angeles.
And our 11, 12-year-olds rolling out, keeping up the speed on that 45-degree banking. They'll be handsomely bunched coming out of the turn. Starter will let them know with a gun. They've done the right thing.
This race is a little short for some of the athletes, but it's just the right distance for others, so we'll see how this plays out here. That's the fun of nationals with an 8-lap event. A lot of strategy playing out. It's a little almost like a sprint event for some of these guys. Let's see how this rolls. Enzo getting himself up and around. Enzo's out there with the blue and black kit of Star Track. Star Track's a cool program out in New York City. Pete Taylor runs that, doing a fantastic job getting a lot of new kids on bike, because we got some other Star Tracks out there with the yellow shoulders and green shorts. They're also part of the same program, just a different classification. So Star Track doing a fantastic job in New York City getting kids on bikes and getting some of them here to LA.
That's right. We've seen a lot of great programs. There's the program out of the Lexus Velodrome, also one right here at the Velo Sports Center, the Connolly Cycling Foundation. They got 2 racers in this race. Brothers, Sasha Hagobian and Vem Hagobian. 6 laps to go.
Noah Shumskas out there. He's actually at the back right now, but Noah just started racing in T-Town this year. He's already found himself in national championships. My goodness. So little big Noah Shumskas out here trying to hold on, racing for big picture cycling. Nice to have Noah out there. His big sister, Danny Shumskas, having a fantastic national so far in the Kieran. Let's see how Noah pulls up, but Enzo off the front at the moment, and Enzo digging in a little bit. Let's see if anybody's going to follow chase here. This is Enzo Edmonds sweeping the events in Hagerstown, Maryland a few weeks ago in the time trial, road, and crit events. He was a 2-time Criterium winner where he won as an 11-year-old in Hagerstown in the Criterium. He's now hitting off at the front. Let's see if anybody can bring him back. Al, 3 laps remaining.
He has shattered the field. There are groups everywhere. And we got a Jerry Baker Velodrome racer, J.C. Pyle, moving himself up, perhaps to second place, or if he could catch Enzo, maybe even first place. It's 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go.
2 to go here. Enzo now looking comfortable. He's on top of that gear. He does not want to leave anything to chance. Nice ride there, though, by the JB Velodrome rider as J.C. Pyle coming up and around in second wheel right now. Let's see if these 3 can work together. Next time through, though, Enzo's going to hear that bell. And let's hear it for Enzo Edmonds, everybody, with 1 lap to go. He's got the advantage, and let's see if he can hold on. And these are going to be your 3 chasers here through the start-finish line.
That's right. Jurassic, also from Washington, looking to get himself onto that podium, as well as Aaron Wang out of San Diego in the red.
Jurassic, nice move there in the line, but Enzo Edmonds, ladies and gentlemen, taking the race win. Enzo will move through first seed to the next ride. I believe this is Jurassic rolling through here. That is Ben Jurassic from Liquid Velo, getting second in that ride, with Wang rolling out third. So nice riding by our 11-12 men out there. Give them a round of applause if you know who they are.
Looks like Sasha Hagobian may have ridden himself onto the podium. So top 5 get to go to the awards ceremony this evening, pick up medals for each of their individual events in the Junior Omnium. Next race will be the women's 13-14 scratch race. They'll be doing 4 kilometers, 16 laps. So your top 5, Enzo Edmonds, Benjamin Jurassic, Aaron Wang, J.C. Pyle, and Sasha Hagobian. They'll be getting medals at the awards ceremony at the end of the evening's program.
So speaking of Omniums, this is now going to be the second event for our 13-14 women's Omnium, at least as far as we're told up here. It's going to be the 13-14 Scratch Race 2, Omnium 2.
Yeah, they had a scratch race yesterday, if I remember correctly. Yep, they did. They had a scratch race in the evening program yesterday. That was a 2-kilometer race, twice the distance tonight, 4 kilometers, 16 laps.
So the starting order is based upon their finishing results from that race. It looks like Divya Verma, who won that race, seated first. She's the rider in the Sprinter's Edge kit down on the pole line there. She's from T-Town, looking to see how she rolls in this second event.
That's right, Divya Verma, part of the Edge cycling squad.
Katie Smock out there. Smock has always had very strong nationals for herself. Let's see how she stacks up against Verma here. So in our T-Town Tuesday night stuff, what we do, we have categorized racings on Tuesdays, and Divya Verma has won almost all of the Category 4-5 women's races the past few weeks. So let's see how she rolls here, is how that experience will play out. As I'm told by Al, she raced well last night. And I saw a little bit on the Twitter feed as well that she looked very comfortable on the bike last night. We're in day number 2, though. Let's see if she's still got the legs after those efforts.
So 186 coming to the front. That's Homari Yamashita.
Homari is a very strong rider. She's in that Show Air 2020 Devo kit. She actually got herself, I believe, a national championship in Hagerstown as well. So she also set a national record in T-Town in the standing 2K time trial a few weeks ago. So Homari has the fitness. It's just a matter of getting her tactics all together, and that's an area where Divya really excels on the track.
Yeah, Divya was a champion last year. Homari just aged up into this group. 13 laps to go.
You can see Homari's being very aggressive so far, continually at the front, trying to draw the rest of the riders out. And Divya's doing a nice job sort of floating the wheels there.
12 laps, 3 kilometers to go in this scratch race, the second race of the Omnium for the women 13-14.
So remember, Homari doesn't want to stay on front for too long by herself doing all the work. The other athletes in the field will be content to allow her to do that work, so Homari will go up to the stayers line there. Let's see if anybody will roll through and continue the pace setting there. Look like that's Smock on the front here. Let's see if Smock will continue on or if Yamashita will be continuing to do any more efforts.
Katie Smock had a really good race yesterday in the other scratch race, so definitely going to want to watch her as we come into the final laps.
Also in this race, Reagan Patashall's out there of Sprinter's Edge. Patashall's had she's been the other rider in T-Town with Divya Verma, who has been going 1-2 in those races. Let's see how she rolls out here tonight. She considers herself more of a sprinter, so this race may be a little bit long for her, but we'll see what happens. She's been putting in the work, as of all these athletes. Here, Smock on the front, though. She starts to wind it up. Looking at 9 laps to go here, 9 to go on a 250-meter track.
Last call, Royce Felton. Last call, Royce Felton to bike check for the next race, men's 13-14 scratch. Thank you. We are at the halfway point, 8 laps in, 8 laps to go.
And Yamashita on the front one more time. Verma up on the hip of Smock there. Verma looking for an opportunity to get into the draft. She doesn't want to let anything get too far out of control here. She likes to ride the front of races. She never lets riders really get away from her. If you ever see that happen, she will immediately seal that down. So let's see how this rolls out. 7 laps to go, 7 remaining. Yamashita, Smock, and Verma have been your 3 on the front for the most part of this event so far. And as we get to 6 right now, Yamashita is very high on track, but she's keeping an eye on Smock and Verma in the draft there of Yamashita. Yamashita drops down through the start-finish line, checks over the shoulder. As she enters the sprint lane, she thinks better of it, goes a little bit higher, and Smock takes over, but nobody really countering these moves yet.
Nope, but they're definitely holding position. I noticed Danielle Scoville of the Northwest Cycling Club keeping herself up there towards the front with 5 laps to go. She's in white.
Scoville has done a great job throughout this race so far, keeping herself up in very good positioning, never letting herself get too far back. And so she may be one just saving it up for the sprint here. That's your rider in white back with the blue helmet out there. She's right on the hip of Smock. As we're looking at 4 laps to go, ladies, 4 laps remaining. And now, in fact, Scoville first wheel as they roll through.
That's right, 1 kilometer to go for our second race in the Omnium for women 13-14. Looks like it's going to be a bunch sprint finish.
And that bunch sprint does favor Verma, but now you can see she's a little boxed in up high on track. So 3 laps to go. Let's see if she has some patience as Yamashita sort of pins her in there. Let's see if Divya's got the opportunity. Now Yamashita losing a little bit of pack positioning here as we get into the critical moments of this race. Remember, this is a 250, not a 333, so there's less time for her to make up for that pack positioning. We're looking at 2 laps to go, and we've got Scoville on the front. And here comes a big acceleration by number 187. That's going to be Sophie Zentz.
And we've had an attack with 2 to go. Somebody's trying to go long.
And there it is, Zentz still on the front. Zentz up and over, but there's Verma, and Verma timing this well. Verma making the pass in 2 there. Smock unable to hold the wheel as Verma into 3. Smock tries to bring it back, but Verma still has the advantage into 4. And coming to the finish, Divya Verma takes this ride ahead of Katie Smock and the bunch behind.
Sophie Zentz took him into that sprint. She wasn't able to take the top 2 positions, but she finished in 3rd. Definitely a strong finish from her.
Zentz on the front very early, and she's still able to hold on for a top 5. So nice ride there by Zentz, number 187 out there from Atlanta, Georgia.
So your top 5, Verma, Smock, Zentz, Wang, and Hicks. They'll be picking up medals tonight.
Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have our men's 13-14 scratch race. We need to make sure all our athletes have gone through bike check. Don't forget, we got food trucks outside, commemorative t-shirts up by the front door, and we have a few people from USA Cycling here as well who can help you answer any questions you may have about racing, other disciplines that we offer. All our athletes who win national championships get themselves ASOS jerseys. Since 1976, ASOS has been engineering premium cycling apparel for the world's most discerning athletes. That's the jerseys that all these athletes get. Great to have them on as a sponsor. Thank you to ASOS for coming out. And all these athletes will be looking for their ASOS jerseys here after their results. Coming to the line, who do we have, Al?
So starting from the blue band, you've got Donnell Anderson, Alejandro Che, Royce Felton, Grayson Hawk, Isaac Jurassic, Jaden Lee, Sebastian Malaver, Julian Rue, and Jordan Watkins. At the rail, we've got Connell Alvord, Aiden Beckman, Johnny Rhodes Delbridge, Mason George, Jonah Hover, Gabriel Lade Denmat, Atai Malakoff, Maxwell Ostrike, and Joe Spranger.
There we go, 16 laps. So Al, Grayson Hawk won the first race last night, is that right? I believe so, yeah?
Yeah, that was also a 2-kilometer scratch race. They are also going 4-kilometer just like the women did.
We're gonna do a moderate speed here, gentlemen. This is not an elimination, it's just a scratch race, so cool the jets here. We need to get everybody into this bike race. We've already ridden a few of them off the back. Cool your jets. These guys took this out like it was a UCI elimination. My goodness.
That's right. Even then, it's still a neutral lap until they fire that gun.
All right, looks like we got ourselves together. All right, now we are officially underway. That once that gun fires, then you're actually racing bikes. These guys are excited. They're looking around. They want to get themselves a nice result here. This is the second event of their Omnium. Jaden Lee in here for Star Trek. Jaden, another athlete who has found success early on. It's only his, I believe it's his second or third year racing bikes, and he's already won national championships. He was discovered through the Star Trek Devo program, and Jaden out there right now on the Affinity cycles, about mid-pack, but Jaden has a phenomenal finishing kick. Let's see how he rolls here today, though, as Grayson Hawk has been practicing the old cadence. We joke with him a little bit in T-Town because he rides a really tiny gear, and you can see his little cadence turns over like nothing else, but it does him favors here in these 13-14 races, as he evidenced yesterday, Al.
That's right. So we got 13 laps to go in this race. Jaden Lee was the bronze medalist last year in this event. Women's scratch race. Please proceed to bike check. Women's scratch race. Please proceed to bike check. Birch, Chong, Gulick, Jastrab, Ryan, Taylor, Sacchio, Valente, Boyea, Erickson, Hyatt, Rochester, Stern, Wentz, and Romano. You are needed in bike check. Your event is up next.
So the pace at the front of this race already popping a lot of riders off the back and maybe weren't expecting the pace to be as high as it is. And where you see, though, Grayson Hawk at the front right now, maintaining control and composure. That was Jaden Lee earlier doing that pace setting. And Lee's now back in the middle of the bunch recovering. Some athletes just maybe didn't gear it right, although this is a junior event, so there's really only one gear you can choose for this whole thing. And the pace now actually allowing some of the dropped athletes to get themselves back into contention. So we'll see how this goes here. Let's see Jonah Hover now testing the waters at the front, but he decides better of it, goes up track, and some of our riders from Atlanta looks like they're rolling through.
2:05, Johnny Rhodes Delbridge taking them across the line. As they approach the halfway point, it'll be 8 laps in, 8 laps to go the next time they hit the start-finish line.
Already halfway. That's great to see. These guys keeping the pace nice and high here. Hawk doing a fantastic job maintaining his composure. He's got black shoulders, white body, and on that BMC bike, if you're here at the VELO Sports Center, you can see his number is 208. He's in the middle of the bunch right now. Jaden Lee, though, he's on the front on that teal Affinity Cycles out there in the blue and black kit of Star Trek. Hopefully he doesn't do too much work too early in this 13-14 scratch race.
Last lap, a 25-mile-an-hour lap. They got 7 laps to go. Saw Atai Malakoff of Jerry Baker Jr.'s out of Washington at the front there a lap or two ago.
These guys looking at each other a lot right now. I think they've now been racing against each other for a number of years, so they know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they know a lot of them are good at finishing sprints, and nobody really wants to be the one to go too early here. Let's see if anybody's just been hiding out, laying in wait. Sometimes as the rider, we don't talk about the entire race who ends up with the race victory, as they've done the best job hiding in the bunch.
Last call to bike check for Lisa Erickson and Megan Jastrab. Last call, Lisa Erickson and Megan Jastrab to the women's scratch race for bike check. Sorry for the ready area. Sorry, those two riders are needed in the ready area.
Our guys still 5 wide as we come through, looking at 4 laps to go. 4 laps to go, gentlemen. 4 laps remaining in your scratch race. 4 to go. And we're still seeing sniffing up at the front, though he's very high on track. Delbridge of the North Georgia Cycling Association out there. That Mission Cycling Devo program doing a nice job getting a lot of guys on track here from the Atlantic area. Let's see if they can get themselves on a podium here. 3 laps to go, gentlemen. 3 laps to go. And Sebastian Malaver of Sprinter's Edge now takes a digger here in the sprint lane. Malaver from T-Town. You're not trying to dig in here. This is a move he tries at home. Let's see if he can find success here late in this 13-14 race event.
They still got 2 laps to go. Malaver's on a 32-mile-an-hour attack.
And Alfred makes the pass over Malaver. And let's see who's going to come from the field, though. Next time through, you're going to be hearing that bell for 1 lap to go, ladies and gentlemen. 1 lap remaining here in the race. Alfred on the front. Malaver trying to hold on. Where are the rest of your field? Hawk very far back. Lee very far back. We're going to be looking at the front of this peloton. We'll have some new winners here in our 13-14 race as he comes out of the final turn, though. It's going to be Alfred getting himself a nice victory.
Sorry, that was Connell Alvord of American Cycling League taking the victory.
Nice to see a rider from Detroit getting himself a race win here on a 250. Here he comes, Connell Alford, number 201, those purple shorts and black top of the Lexus Velodrome. Timing that well, used Sebastian Malaver's attack to his advantage. Hesitation in the field cost the win for some of the other athletes out there, but congratulations to Alfred from Chelsea, Michigan, racing at that Lexus Velodrome.
That's right, the American Cycling League, they've had races since September. Actually, sorry, they've got September races, started 2019 inaugural season. They've had over 100,000 in prizes and rider support. Great program out there at the Lexus Velodrome. Turning out riders like Connell Alvord, who wins the men's 13-14 scratch race, the second event in the 13-14 Omnium. We'll give you the top 5 here momentarily as things get set up for the elite women's scratch race. Got the return of our national champion, Jen Valente. As well as silver medalist Kendall Ryan and bronze medalist Colleen Golick will also be starting here.
Almost all these athletes have actually come through T-Town this season, so it's cool to see everybody back together on track for this national championship event. Now, this is a standalone scratch race final, not part of the Omnium. We're just looking for the winner of this race will win a national championship. 40 on the counter. Great to have Jen racing with us. Here she comes to the line. And we're off. Now this is neutral. Remember, we all start together, and then once you hear that crack of the gun, then we're actually racing bikes.
This will be a 10-kilometer, 40-lap race. Once again, it's a scratch race. No points, no eliminations, no handicaps. Just first rider across the line at the end of the distance is the winner and the new national champion. That was non-handsome, so we're going to look for them to get more bunched up. "15 riders in the field. And they're racing. 419 at the front, Zoe Sasio. Megan Jastrab behind her.
So Jastrab's raced the junior events, and now she's jumping right into the elite races, which she did similar in T-Town. We offered UCI junior events, and she participated in some of them, and then she jumped into her first UCI Women's Omnium in T-Town this year, first one for her ever. She actually got third in her first UCI Elite Omnium ever, and then she jumped, continued on and got second in another one. So Jastrab showing that she's already able to be competitive in these elite events, even though she is still a junior athlete. But we've got Jen Valente here, first rider with a rider number 1 on her back. Valente, one of the most savvy riders I've ever seen on the track. I watched her at the Milton World Cup this past winter, coming into 1 to go at the Omnium scratch race. So it's a big level race, right? It's the first event of 4. Your result at that scratch race really matters. Valente's like mid-pack at 1 to go, and she just cut through the field without panicking. She ended up third in that race just because she's so good at just being patient and waiting and reading the race. And that's exactly what she's doing right now. She's taking inventory on everybody. So while she may be last wheel in the bike race, look who's right in front of her. It's Christina Birch, another national team athlete representing the Foundation for American Track Cycling here today. She's also looking at Kendall Ryan, who is in front of her there. So Valente will be one to watch here later on. Phenomenal bike racer. Really honored to have her racing with us here in LA today.
That's right. I've got your top 5 for the men, 13-14. They will be getting medals tonight. Connell Alvord, Isaac Jurassic, Maxwell Ostrike, Johnny Rhodes Delbridge, and 5th place Sebastian Maliver. Those are your top 5. They'll be getting medals in the awards ceremony at the end of our program tonight. That's the men's 13-14 scratch race top 5.
Nice to see Kendall Ryan on track in the Tibco presented by Silicon Valley Bank kit out there. Ryan coming to the track for the past few weeks, starting in T-Town, now here. She also raced some of the professional road races that were just happening, like Winston-Salem and whatnot. But Ryan, one of the fastest finishers, if she's got good pack positioning and she's chosen her gear well, she could be at 1 to watch at the end. You said, Al, she's actually a medal finisher last year, is that right?
That's right. She's also a national champion on the road, so plenty of speed from Kendall Ryan. Back to Christina Birch. She's been representing the U.S. in Madisons all over the world, along with Kimberly Geist. It's 32 laps to go, 8 kilometers remaining of this 10-kilometer race.
Yeah, Birch and Geist have been racing together at T-Town. They were there for 2 weeks, and they raced well. They won one of the UCI events. They got second in another, actually due to a technicality. We don't need to get into that right now, but they raced very well, very competitive against the New Zealand national team athletes who were in town, really putting up a good fight, and the Colombian national team who also raced really well. So Geist and Birch will be riders to watch in our Madison events later on. Rolling through there on the front is Elspeth Hewitt, another rider from T-Town. Elspeth, a former junior national champion, now racing for I Am, I Can, I Will, I Do. Good to have her out here in Los Angeles right now on the 250 wood.
Yep. Another rider to watch is 404 Colleen Gulick. got a medal in this event last year, looking to improve upon her placing.
Yeah, Colleen is a defending Rider of the Year in T-Town, and she has been absolutely on fire. So she's actually riding better this year than she was last year, relatively speaking. She's been placing on podiums at UCI events, and she's also now leading the Rider of the Year competition for this year, something she was not doing at this point last season. So she's coming into this race with a little bit more form, hopefully a little bit more confidence too. That was her on the front right there. Elspeth was on her wheel, and they of course are going to be looking at Birch and Valente as we get into this race.
7 kilometers to go that last lap. 27 laps showing on the card this time as rider 409 brings them across the line. That's Morgan Stern.
Stern from Chicago, racing at Northbrook maybe. That old big old track out there. Northbrook always has some fun races. There's also close up to the Minnesota track up there, that big wooden track, which is a lot of fun to ride.
That's right, Blaine. 26 laps to go is 402. Jessica Chong, Mathletes Racing. Christina Birch with a degree from MIT, and you got Jessica Chong, part of the Mathlete squad, so a lot of brain power out there on the track as well.
They're your kind of people, Al.
That's right, coming around the C25 to go.
Vanessa Romano on the front. Romano in the junior categories now racing with the elites, just like Jastrab. Romano found herself on the podium earlier in our U.S. Nationals competition this week. She's hoping to get a good ride in here. She's been racing well in our local criteriums in T-Town, and she'll hopefully use some of that experience to get herself a little closer to the front of this race.
24 laps to go, 6 kilometers to go, and we've got an attack. Looks like Birch.
Yeah, Birch is going to be your first rider to come from up and over, and look who's there. It's going to be Valente. So Birch and Valente now separating themselves from the rest. Taylor Sawyer on the front there, going to try to bring it back, and Jastrab now, your other rider in her Rally UHC Pro Cycling kit, and Kendall Ryan there, but Ryan now gapping off Mary-Kate Wintz from Cleveland. So Wintz sitting there gapping those two riders. That's not good for the riders behind. They need to get up onto this move as you now see 4 together. Gulick getting herself onto the move. Let's see if they can recollect themselves here, but that was an interesting foray into what we may see at the end of this race.
That's right, 33 mile an hour in attack. It's worth noting that Birch has ridden with Valente on Team Pursuit, and so the fact that they were able to work well together to their mutual advantage is not a surprise.
Yeah, the national team riders out there who's traveled the world together have raced on the Team Pursuit. They also do a number of camps at Colorado Springs at the U.S. Development Center there on a 333-meter track. So they spend a lot of time together. They know each other well. They also know in a race like this what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. So the fact that Valente just jumped right onto the wheel of Birch shows that she's got a lot of respect for our rider from Los Angeles. Birch now living here in L.A. This is her hometown race. She'd love to do something here, but check this out, Al. We've got a little bit of separation here with Colleen Gulick into the mix.
That's right, Sacchio and Erickson off the front. So 3 riders off the front trying to build a lead there.
This is a pretty interesting move here for Gulick to jump in with these riders she does not know very well, but she read the race properly, and now she's putting a lot of hurt onto the field because Valente's the one to bring it back. So Valente riding Taylor Sawyer off the wheel and Kendall Ryan off the wheel. The other riders all over the place on the track. Look how far back Jastrab is in the mix. Of course, Chong right on the draft there, but this breakaway now reabsorbed thanks to the effort of Valente, but she has detonated the field behind her as some riders unable to keep on going. In fact, one rider having a mechanical there thanks to the efforts. So surging here. A lot of changes in speed going on in this women's championship scratch race event.
Yep, 16 laps, 4 kilometers to go. You see a lot of attacks and counterattacks. You can tell when the speed's gone up because they get all lined out in the pole. And when the speeds have slowed down as they get wide in the turns. Birch now off the front and another rider looking to bridge. And there goes Valente again.
Yeah, it's going to be Birch and Elspeth Hewitt separating themselves. So Elspeth has ridden with Birch in T-Town quite a lot, and it's going to be Valente who brings this all back together. And it's going to be to see if anybody can continue to hold on to these changes in speed. Nice ride there by Elspeth, though, to hold on and react to Birch. Elspeth goes up track. She's going to drop back in, though. She doesn't want to let herself get too far back there. This is about to get into the interesting part of this race with 14 to go. Your national team members there with Birch and Valente really hitting this race hard. Nice to see Gulick, though, getting herself into that mix.
Last call for men's scratch race to bike check. Casson, Polson, Jastrab, Mayfield, Finneran, Winter, Hevigary, Williams, But Savage, Summerhill, Brewer, Lang, Cattell, Klein, Brewer, Larson, Strain, Young, Carlson, Holloway, Kroom, Manderfeld, Carney, and Jordan. This is your last call to bike check.
It's so great to see Lisa Erickson and Zoe Saccio getting themselves off the front a number of times. This is Saccio right now with Erickson. So those two riders really digging in hard, trying to take advantage of some hesitation from the field. And that's the strategy you can implement when you're going up against world-class athletes like Olympian Jennifer Valente. Valente knows how to ride this race, and if you can force Valente to chase you, that's better for you because Valente has to ride faster than you to catch you, and that's what she's doing right now, though she does not seem to be too concerned. But Erickson and Saccio, hats off to them for being nice and aggressive here throughout this race. Hopefully they'll see the result out of these tactics.
That's right. If you're not racing, you're just a spectator with a closer seat. 10 laps to go.
10 laps remaining here, and the riders looking at each other. Birch looking down at Jastrab. Jastrab now checking out and seeing where the rest of the riders are. Chong in the middle of that mix. Just Chong already won a national championship earlier today in the team pursuit. She's now out here looking for another medal to her name. Remember, she is a gym teacher at a high school in the Lehigh Valley, and she used to be a former professional triathlete. Now she is collecting national championships on the track. Big acceleration right now by Christina Birch, though very well timed. Valente on her heels, but Valente reacts very quickly to this acceleration. Up and over Erickson there, and Birch and Valente now separating themselves, and Kendall Ryan goes up and over. Ryan knows she needs to get onto that train. Gulick there with Jastrab. So riders all looking around at each other right now, but we've got Birch, Valente separating themselves. Ryan almost there. Gulick and Jastrab onto the mix. Romano and Chong a little off pace there, but we now have our separation of this race. Birch going to be Kendall Ryan, Colleen Gulick, Megan Jastrab, and Jen Valente. Those five have separated themselves at this point.
That's right. The field, those five left the station at 32 miles an hour. They're now looking at a little less than a mile to go as the field comes back up. Five laps to go. 5 laps to go. The group's all back together. Gabe?
That huge acceleration, though, really showing us who our strong athletes are and which riders are paying attention in this race. Birch being very aggressive, but she's now going to sit back because she doesn't want to have to be the one that's always being chased down. You know, look at the riders who are in her draft. You got Ryan, Valente, Jastrab, and Chong all looking at Birch right now. Birch will let the rest of this race go if she has to, just because she doesn't want to have to do all that work. And as I say that, she just rides through on the sprinter's lane and goes back to the front. So let's see how this plays out, because clearly we're just watching this bike race. We're not in it here tonight.
That's right. We're inside the final kilometer. It's 3 laps, 750 meters to go. It's the world's largest match sprint now.
Yeah, this is a big old bunch sprint. Everybody's been very patient so far. Few attacks throughout the night. We've seen 3 major attacks, most of them having been done by Christina Birch, a hometown favorite here. And and she's looking to get herself a national title, but it's going to be tough against riders like Valente and Jastrab and Ryan. Let's see if she can get it, though. She's looking over her shoulder. Birch very aggressive here. 2 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're here at the VELO Sports Center, let's hear you guys make a little bit of noise to bring this home. This is a national championship event, and these riders want this national title. They can use your support here because we have a drag race coming into 1 to go. It's Jen Valente in the sprinter's lane. Birch on the hip. Ryan down low on track, and Jastrap tries to come up and around. Birch on the brakes a little bit late, but Valente still on the front. Kendall Ryan in the toe. She cannot get up and around as we come out of turn number 4. Jennifer Valente, crowned your new national champion here at the VELO Sports Center.
So Valente crossing line first, Kendall Ryan repeating with the silver, but Jastrab the junior getting in for the bronze at 38 miles an hour.
Fantastic ride there. Once Jen got on top of that gear, Ryan could only hold in the draft. Same with Jastrab there. There's an opportunity on the track. Sometimes if you got that draft, you can swing up track, try to slingshot around, but Valente was going so fast that unfortunately those riders were not able to pull that maneuver off. So hats off to Jennifer Valente, staying patient, keeping the race under control. Jennifer Valente here, ladies and gentlemen, of Show Air 2020.
Coming up on our final event of the evening, the men's scratch race. If qualifying was any indication, we are in for quite a race this evening with the men. They'll be going 15 kilometers, 60 laps. It'll be the same format you saw with the women. No points, no eliminations, no handicaps. Just first rider across the line takes home a national championship jersey. Got a lot of really fast riders in here, as well as our reigning national champion, Justin Butt Savage of Star Track Racing. Charles Mack Casson, silver medalist, is also in the field, but lots of contenders to take it away from those two.
Remember, Butt Savage won this event last year. He actually lapped the field, and then he was in the bunch ahead of everybody else who lapped the field with him. So he didn't actually cross the line first, to my understanding, but he did make that lap, and then he was high enough in the bunch. So sometimes that can happen. Sometimes in a scratch race, it's not always the first person across the line at the end, but we'll do our best up here to keep you guys sorted on how that's playing out.
Of course, if they're up a lap, they are the first person across the line. They're the ones who've done the full distance. Everyone else is a lap behind them.
Showing you how it's done. This year at the Armed Forces Cycling Classic, Eric Young actually lapped their field, and then he won the field sprint just to really bring that point home. So sometimes that can happen. We'll do our best to keep that under control. Nice to see Justin Williams in the field here today.
So we need a volunteer for Holder on the blue band, please. Let's give a rundown of who we got in the final. We got Charles Mack Casson, Justin Polson, Ryan Jastrab, Robert Mayfield, Daniel Finneran, Alex Winter, Adrian Hedgeberry, Justin Williams, Justin Butt Savage, Daniel Summerhill, Daniel Brewer, and Colby Lang, starting from the blue band, not necessarily in that order. And starting at the rail, Jeremy Cattell, Shane Klein, Alex Brewer, Brian Larson, Lucas Strain, Eric Young, Chris Carlson, Daniel Holloway, John Kroom, Tristan Manderfeld, Jamie Carney, and George Jordan.
right, here we roll. This is going to be our final bunch race of the evening, and after the words, we will do an awards presentation down on the infield. Now, this is our men's scratch race final. So again, this is not part of an omnium. This is a standalone championship event. It is a scratch race. And there we go. We decided we're close together for that one, even though Jamie Carney just hanging out at the back there.
Shane Klein at the front as they start rolling up to speed.
I believe Mr. Holloway is in this bunch. Yes, Mr. Daniel Holloway, number 513, but he's in the Texas Roadhouse kit out there. Holloway, one of the savviest riders in this field, represents the United States at World Cups in the Omniums and in the Madison with Hedgevery out there. Hedgevery with those super narrow bars, but we'll try to point him out for you if you can't tell who he is. But Hedgevery and Holloway in the mix out here tonight. Nice to have those guys. Mr. Summerhill's out there as well, huh?
Yep. Holloway also rocking the narrow bars. 57 laps to go.
And Mr. Lang rolling through there. These guys doing a sort of pace line for a bit, but Colby Lang decided that he didn't want to have anything to do with that. So one of your riders from the earlier Team Pursuit championship teams now coming to the front, going to string this out a bit, trying to find himself a few breakaway partners out here and seeing if they can get themselves a little bit of separation. Everybody single file, though, doing a nice job rolling all together. Holloway at the back, not panicking at all. Similar to Valente, his style of riding is to be very patient. He'll respond when response is required.
Colby Lang was the one who really got him up to speed there. And then you've also got Justin Williams, 585, National Criterium champion. No stranger to the track, though, or to Southern California, out there as well. 54 laps to go.
Yeah, Justin Williams, one of the best bunch sprinters in the world right now. Williams at the back, trying to swing up and down, looking around, taking inventory here. He does not race on the track very much, so this will be one of his only track races appearances for the season, and he'd love to make it a good one to match up with his elite national titles in the crit.
31 miles an hour in the early going, 53 laps to go.
Eric Young was on the front there just now. Eric, again, very solid national team member, also winning a lot of races on the road this season. He's also a former Criterium national champion himself. Mr. Chris Carlson on the front. My goodness.
51 laps to go. Jamie Carney, speaking of Masters riders.
I didn't say that. So Carney used to race professionally in 6 days, so he has a lot of experience on the track. He's now in Piedmont with his wife, Erica Carney, where those two are doing a fantastic job with that collegiate program, getting a lot of riders up in the upper echelons of the collegiate cycling program. But Carney brings a ton of experience. He's actually been on the podium at the Omnium here just in the past few years. So talk about savviness, Jamie Carney is going to be your man to watch.
So you got 513 Daniel Holloway on the narrow bars at the front of the field right now. Wants to show him off. He's going to go off the front so that you all get a good look.
Really interesting to see Holloway actually putting in an effort here this early in the race. I very rarely see Holloway take this type of tactic in an event. Usually he lets somebody else go up track and then he follows across, but he is now the one on the attack, and Eric Young is going to be the one to try to bring him across. We're doing some speed checks up here with Al and the stopwatches. We'll let you know how fast Holloway is going here on our 250-meter track in Carson, California.
Holloway at 30 miles an hour. Alex Brewer tried to shut it down, but now it's over to 530 to try to make up the rest of the distance. That's Eric Young.
So two pros on the track right now, looking around. Holloway testing the legs. Again, very different tactic than what we normally see from Mr. Holloway. Let's see if we can if that's any foreshadowing for anything else that happens here, we do have 4 Texas Roadhouse athletes. John Kroom is in here, Adrian Hedgevery, Danny Summerhill, and Daniel Holloway.
11 kilometers remaining in the race, 44 laps showing on the cards. Carney crosses the line again, this time at 29 miles an hour.
Nice to see Tristan Manderfeld out there. Manderfeld from Colorado Springs is part of the Armed Forces Support for Cycling program. He spent a few weeks in T-Town, and now he's got himself ready for U.S. National Championships right now. He's number 522 here, and he'll be in the dark blue kit on your screen at home. These guys doing a little bit of inventory taking right now. So we've seen Daniel Holloway hit this hard at the front. Nobody else has really done the same style of attack. So far, Texas Roadhouse has been the most aggressive in the bunch. Let's see if anybody else tries this move here. You see a few accelerations with about 41 laps to go.
That's right, a lot of those Roadhouse riders, they were in that team pursuit that we started the evening with. 41 laps to go.
So it's actually be Charles Casson from Boulder. Casson in the all black. He's got that Aero helmet, but he doesn't have the Aero visor. He's just got those glasses on. So Charles up track there in the all black, looking around. He wants to get himself a little bit of a breakaway, but Lucas Strain there in the knee on top. Nice to see Lucas making a recovery after a little bit of a tumble in T-Town a few weeks ago. And now we got a new acceleration here by Shane Klein, our man from Bally, Pennsylvania, coming through our BRL race programming at the Velodrome. And Klein now on the front, trying to get himself on a spot of the national team by finding some results here in Carson.
If I'm not mistaken, that was Cattell that went with him. That's stringing out the field, but they didn't snap the elastic. That was Jeremy Cattell. That was a 34-mile-an-hour attack. They're looking at 38 laps to go. 38 laps to go.
And indeed, Klein's acceleration has popped a few riders on their heels there, and Chris Carlson will pull that all back together. But Klein now testing the front a little bit. So Holloway and Klein, your first two to really hit out here early. Colby Lang did a little bit of an acceleration off the line, but not as the same. And here's another attack by your Texas Roadhouse athletes. Let's see which one this is. It looks like Summerhill to me. As we roll through, that's going to be 527.
That was Summerhill. You called it, Gabe, and we've got a breakaway now.
Yeah, first time we've really stretched and snapped the elastic there. Is that Colby in that mix? It is. So we've got Eric Young, Summerhill, Colby Lang. Cattell has made it, and I believe Jastrab has also made it across to that. So 5 riders clearly separating themselves. We've actually split the field in half. Williams on the wrong end of those splits, in fact. So 5 riders, Colby Lang hitting it out with Eric Young, Summerhill, Jastrab, and Cattell there. Let's see if those riders can get themselves the advantage as we have the field chasing hard right now. They do not want to let what happened last year go once again, where a group lapped the field.
So that's a very powerful group off the front there. They've got about a half lap on that second half of the field, and Klein is recognizing it. There are 8 kilometers remaining in the race, 32 laps shown on the cards.
Cattell off pace. Cattell dropped from that group. Manderfeld and Butt Savage helping Klein to get across to that move of now 4. They've now caught Cattell. Now they're going to go up and over the top. So Butt Savage, Klein, trying to work together to get to your group of 4 that includes Summerhill, Colby Lang, Ryan Jastrap, and Eric Young.
31 laps to go. We are approaching the halfway point as our lead 4 come across the line. 30 laps in, 30 laps to go. 7.5 kilometers remaining.
It's actually going to be Alex Winter mixing in with that group with the Klein, Butt Savage, and Manderfeld group. Here are your lead of 4 through the start-finish line with Summerhill, Lang, Jastrap, and Young. Here's your chase with Winter, Manderfeld, Justin Butt Savage, and Shane Klein. We're going to be looking for our lap to be called here. Your bunch is coming off the back. So I believe this is a drop group, but we'll listen over race radio to see how this is scored, because very shortly, we think a lap will be called here with 28 laps to go. We may see this lap occur.
Field is the largest group on the track, so we'll have to be mindful of which is the largest group. Group of 5 in front of them, or 6, 7 across that. So they got to get through traffic to get up to what looks to me to be the field.
All right, so right now our riders are riding through lapped traffic with Young, Lang, Summerhill. Now they've actually gapped Jastrab off there, so we're now down to 3. So here we come. So we only have 3 right now. Jastrab off pace as Young, Colby, Lang, and Summerhill are getting there. Jastrab isn't getting there. And here we come. So we're seeing now we're getting to the catch. But your leader now is going to be Jastrab. So Jastrab did not make it, but we have the lap being completed by Lang, Summerhill, and Young. Jastrab here, though, number 515, has not yet completed the lap. We'll see how we score that out.
That's right, and when it comes down to the final sprint, it's going to be the relative position between those 4 riders that will determine which are the top 3 and stand on the podium, and which one stands at the top step as your new national champion 23 laps from now. So they are back in the field, and so it's going to be the count back to get this all sorted out. But we got a great set of officials here at this event. Looking forward to that in 22 laps.
Jastrab desperately trying to get himself into the draft of what is being scored as the bunch, as he needs to finish and secure that. He does not want to have to keep doing laps at this effort. He wants to get in there and recover, and now he has made it. So now in turn 3 with 21 to go on the board, that's when Jastrab finally makes the catch. Meanwhile, his other 3 breakaway compatriots have already been scored as making that lap.
So Jastrab is the 4th of those riders to get back in the field. He needs to now move up in the field and get ahead of at least one other of those 3 to get on the podium, and he needs to get ahead of all 3 to get to the top step. 20 laps to go and 5 kilometers remaining in the race as the field comes out of the turn.
So the 20 to go here, 20 laps to go. We got Robert Mayfield of Colorado Springs physically off the front of the peloton, and Justin Williams going to try to do a little dig here to bring him back. Williams on the front, going to go up track with Mayfield now coming through the start-finish line. 19 laps to go. Mayfield now goes up track. And now we have a new acceleration by our Texas Roadhouse crew.
So they got to try to take a lap in the last 18 if they want to have any Texas Roadhouse riders on the podium.
That's actually going to be Summerhill one more time. So Summerhill, very aggressive here tonight. He absolutely wants a gold medal here in this scratch race. Carney, Polson, and Strain off pace as your leader, Summerhill, coming through, but the chase is behind him. And he's going to go up track. He's actually going to get a little bit of a reprieve here for some dropped riders. Let's see how that is scored by our officials.
16 laps to go, 4 kilometers remaining in the race. We got 4 riders up a lap.
So your bunch all together right now, Al, and these riders coming through right now are not at the lead. They are actually behind. Your bunch all together, 4 of your leaders have made it through. Jastrab, Summerhill, Lang, and Young have all lapped the field. We're going to be looking for those 4 riders when we get into the sprint, unless there is another separation in this event.
14 laps to go, 14 laps to go. Summerhill at the front. He was one of those 4 that took the lap.
So riders who are out of contention now being removed from the track right now. So we're pulled a few down. We're still looking at the front of your race, though. Shane Klein on the front. Justin Savage now taking over. Colby Lang and Jastrab going up track there. So if you're your riders who have made the lap, let's see what aggressive tactics take place here, courtesy of the Texas Roadhouse crew, though, as one more time on the front, Summerhill, an absolute machine here tonight. And Mayfield responds to that immediately as he's seen how much damage Summerhill himself has done to this championship scratch race.
That's right, off the front after already taking a lap. Could he make it 2 in 11 laps to go?
That would certainly secure him the victory here for sure. He's joined by Daniel Brewer and Eric Young, as well as Robert Mayfield. So Mayfield jumping onto a very good group there. Two of those riders have already lapped once. Brewer and Mayfield trying to get themselves a lap as well.
So Eric Young with a lap. So really it's a race between Summerhill and Young as they come into the final 10 laps.
9 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen. If you're here at the VELO Sports Center, now's the time when we're within single digits to make a bunch of noise for these guys, especially if you know who they are. They can hear you out there, so make some noise and cheer their names. You've got Robert Mayfield, Danny Summerhill, Eric Young, and Alex Brewer out there. There we go, trying to get these guys home with 8 laps to go.
Manderfield bringing it all back together as we come into the final kilometers.
And just a relative understanding of how fast we're going. Justin Williams unable to hold on to that group here as we still have more attacks coming out of Tristan Manderfeld. Manderfeld now your rider to attack within 7 laps to go. Other riders unable to hold the pace of your man from Colorado Springs. Here he comes. Manderfeld now off the front. Now remember, Manderfeld will be racing for 5th place if he crosses the line first, but number 513, that's going to be Holloway coming up and around. Holloway checking over the shoulder there. He's going to make contact with Manderfeld, although he looks up track. He may think better of the move. An interesting decision there by Holloway.
So Holloway up there with 5:10 as well. That's John Kroom looking to maybe get some minor placings as we come into the final kilometer. 4 laps to go. 4 laps to go.
4 laps remaining. Manderfeld here is your rider off the front, and he has 5 riders chasing him right now. Some of them have already made the lap. We're going to be looking for where Summerhill is. Which one's Summerhill? Summerhill's over here. I think in the bunch in the middle. So Manderfeld rolls through, and we in this grouping here, we've got John Kroom and Daniel Holloway of Texas Roadhouse. Summerhill is in the bunch himself. So your riders who have lapped the field are all together right now. We have Young, Lang, Summerhill, and Jastrab all together in that order in the bunch. With 2 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen, 2 laps remaining in this championship scratch race. Young on the front of the bunch. Let's see if he's going to bring this thing home. Klein's on the front of what is scored as the chase with Manderfeld off the front, but Young winding up your peloton here. There's your bell for Tristan Manderfeld. Manderfeld going to try to hold on. Bud Savage now coming up and around. And Young makes the catch here. Young going to try to get up and around. Klein kicking out of turn number 2. Manderfeld's legs to cement as they come into 3. Klein's got the advantage. Klein comes to the line. He will secure 5th in the race. And Eric Young, I believe, will come across to be scored as your new U.S. national champion. We're going to qualify that as unofficial until we have our official results here, but Eric Young, by our eye up here, came across in that bunch the first rider from those 4 who lapped. We will let you know as soon as that is officially scored, but congratulations to all 4 of those riders who went across. That was Summerhill, Danny Summerhill, Colby Lang, Ryan Jastrab, and Eric Young. Those will be your top 4. We'll be looking to see what your final podium scoring will be, and we will get right back to you. But Al, what a fantastic race. Did you get any speeds on that final lap by any chance?
I did not, because I was watching that second group, which had all of our contenders for the podium charging up through traffic, showing the rest of them how it is done. A very exciting finish in the men's elite scratch race. We've got more scratch racing for the juniors coming up tomorrow, as we have the 11, 12s, 15, 16s. The racing will start here again at 9 a.m. We'll have another evening session, which will also be live streamed on both YouTube and Facebook. Still waiting for those final results. We'll get you those momentarily.
That was a fantastic late race effort there. Nice kick by Shane Klein from Valley, Pennsylvania, representing Smart Stop Self-Storage out there in that blue and white kit. Shane doing a fantastic job kicking out of turn number 2 to hold off a hard-charging peloton that included Eric Young. Young did one across the line first just to make it easy on us. Unfortunately, Klein held him off, though, but Klein will be scored as 5th in the race. Nice ride there for Mr. Klein. Klein, a woodworker in the wintertime, actually, making furniture for people in the Lehigh Valley. Really cool to have him racing bikes so quickly for us.
Optimus Klein.
That's right. He does enjoy himself a little Transformers movies every once in a while. All right, so we're still sorting our results here. We're doing the best we can. We're going to keep ourselves on the old YouTube channel on here until we actually know who our winners are, so stick around if you can. My name's Gabe Lloyd. I'm joined by Alfred Nash, longtime commentator here in Los Angeles. I'm honored to be here in your home. Alfred, thank you for inviting me this year. This has been really exciting racing so far. You've been here actually now 3 days, is that right?
That's right. This is day number 3 of our Junior and Elite Track National Championships.
And 3 days of racing. We've seen a lot of junior races take place in both sprint and endurance events. Is that right?
That's right. We got both junior races, and then we're actually going to round things out Sunday and Monday with some para events. And the Sunday finals will be live streamed as well.
That's very exciting to have the para athletes coming to town to start participating with us as we're getting through what we have: our juniors, our elites, and then we'll have our paras here. And we're just trying to finish out our final results for that final scratch race. What we see on our screen doesn't exactly line up with what we think we've got scored up here. So we're going to do our best to get you guys those final official results if we can, and then we will sign off here for our YouTube channel and Facebook channel, and then we'll jump down to the award ceremony for right here at the VELO Sports Center. So we're here at the VELO Sports Center today. In fact, we actually did a bunch of team pursuit events, taking the win earlier in our team pursuit. We had some new national champions, in fact, come into the line. We had team What's Its Name, Jessica Chong, our physical education teacher, getting herself a national championship with Haley Bates, Danny Morsehead, and Kate Wilson. Awesome to see Danny in that bunch there, now racing for Team Pratt Phil. That's a program out of Providence, Rhode Island, for my alma mater, Rhode Island School of Design. Cool to have them building race bikes for everybody here. In the men's team pursuit finals, Shane Klein got himself a national championship earlier in the day with Colby Lang, Grant Kuntz, and Ashton Lambie, who did a huge pull there at the end. Star Track taking a women's team sprint win there with Maddie Gabi and Sophia Shuhei.
So we've got our results for the men's scratch race. First place, Eric Young. Second place, Colby Lang. And third place, Daniel Summerhill. That'll conclude our racing for this evening. Gabe's going to read us out for the evening's live stream.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for coming out and tuning in to the live stream at the 2019 Junior and Elite Track Nationals July 4th coverage. This is day 3 of our Track Nationals. Fantastic racing by everybody here from around the country. And with that, my name is Gabe Lloyd. I was joined by Alfred Nash, and we'll see you tomorrow right here at USA Cycling.